Good morning, traders out there. It looks like PPI is in and the markets aren't mad at all. Looks like we might just be loving it today, guys, as we get a rip up on this now to 623.50s. More comments about potential firing or resigning of Jerome Powell. And of course, this is going to add to more pressure about rate cuts as inflation shows a little bit of a dip here. We'll talk a little bit more about it. Let's get to the charts. Let's take a look at the action. And I'm already in some trades. So if you're taking some trades here in the pre-market with this rip, I can't blame you. Just be careful for things running a little bit away from you and then not being able to cash into the move. We'll see what happens, of course, as we are getting a big pop here in the SPY. Some stocks getting a nice little lift there this morning. Let's get to the charts. Let's take a look here as we get the action there in the SPY. I took a trade on APLD just a couple of moments ago before I opened this up, and there you go. It's already getting the move. I am actually really glad I got out of my circle trade, as this is looking like it's going to start making a big rip to the upside as we're getting the crypto bill to actually go through here. So a lot conversation that we need to go ahead and catch. We'll be taking a look at to see what's going on in the markets. We'll go to the playbook. We'll go to the sunrise. We'll take a look at what action is happening this very moment. But of course, the first thing that we got to talk about is the PPI that came in. We did get month over month for June at 0 versus a 0.2 estimate. That's a really good sign there. That means that inflation is coming down. That's going to help the narrative, of course, of pushing on Jerome Powell that he needs to cut rates. We'll see what happens here as the year over year comes in at 2.6. Of course, CPI didn't come in hot here this week. And so I think we got to continue to watch it now. Of course, I think in the long run, we will see some type of inflation spike. And that's what I think Jerome Powell will stay to. Even though these numbers are showing this, remember, the tariffs just got higher, right? So he's going to still stay in the stance that he's not cutting anytime soon. And he's not going anywhere anytime soon. I know that there's comments out there that says that his resigning could be imminent. Why would he resign at this point? He's only months away from finishing his term. I think he wants to finish his term. I think he wants to stay data dependent. And I don't think he cares whatsoever about what Trump has to mention. All right, we'll keep going, guys. We'll see what else is out there. We'll get to the stocks that are moving with this move. Of course, a lot of action coming off of that report. Not a bad report coming in there in the PPI. We'll talk a little bit more about what's going on in the crypto space and everything out there. Let's get to the action. We'll take a look at the playbook first. We'll go to what stocks I have maybe that could be moving today. And then, of course, we'll talk about what stocks are getting catalysts today that you guys can be catching. Let's get to this morning's playbook. All right, guys, on the playbook this morning, we're going to take a look at different stocks out there that are available. We've talked about some of these already, but let's get to the action. Let's talk about, of course, the first one up, APLD. I already have it on, and I just took it, guys. This is all about the $10 spot. Been talking about how this has been coming off the 950s. Now we're up there towards the 10. We could still slightly undercut, maybe going to the 980s today. I'll be on alert for that, but I'm really looking for a rip up towards the 11 spot and getting out of this line right here, starting to make our way back towards the 13 and up here. So another thing that you've been seeing is what? And this is very important. You see these orange lines? You see how the Bollinger Band is kind of getting tighter and tighter? That shows us that we could be in play for a volatility expansion. So this is the contraction area. Now we're going to look for the expansion, right? Another thing that you got to be looking at is the MACD. And the MACD is an indicator, but what you want to be using it as is a what? As a conviction or a timing indicator. So, of course, right now I did get an entry, but we're not really crossed on the daily, showing us that we're not having this huge momentum up just yet. I'm trying to front run a little bit of the action by getting in now. But of course, if it does make a move to 11 today, closes towards, let's say, 1150, I have a feeling you'll see this cross right over. So that's going to be the thing to watch for in the next couple of days to show you that you picked the timing correct. So in the next couple of days, I'd look to see that MACD cross, and then that would give me conviction that I timed the trade correctly. All right, let's keep going. We'll do it to the next one here. We can take a look at BTBT. This is one that I was talking about yesterday. It was in a flag pattern, and I liked the flag pattern. And it looked really clean there. We'll look to see if this can start to lift now, as of course we're getting more and more mentions of the crypto bill that could actually pass now. So we'll talk a little bit more about that crypto action. A lot of things going back and forth with that. Of course, even Trump comments this morning. We'll hear more about what's going on there, and we got to keep pushing to see what else is out there, guys. Let's go ahead. We'll take a look at another trade here. Of course, APLD, BTBT has been some stocks that we've been watching. What about maybe like a BTU long, a coal long, or you guys can look at other trades out there. I'm still continuing to watch like a trade like ANF and different trades out there. There's a lot to take a look at. Of course, we put this out every single morning. So if you guys want to take a look at it, you guys can look at it on our Twitter. Also, NNE is one that I'm still watching for a move to break above 35, going into 36. It could do it right now in the pre-market. The real watch is above that 36.50, starting to make its drive back. Of course, yesterday I talked about this one, and I said that SMR could have that inside day. It kind of had that perfect looking chart. Now I'd look for a pullback towards like 41s and 40s to get bottomed up, and then a move higher on SMR. We'll look to see if these can continue to run. Of course, yesterday CEG turned back a little bit. GEV was looking a little bit better. And if you look at NRG has been pulled back. This one actually looks like it could be ready for another move up. We'll see what happens on these plays. LEU, another one, of course, that just continues to rip higher. Could be on a little bit of a pullback there. And of course, we'll take a look to see what happens. Q's continuing higher. Now we'll look to see if we get a big push today. It's a big day to see if the bulls just take it right back up to the upside. And of course, AMD looking like it's at 156. That was a nice little short-term pullback. I remember when we were talking about maybe we'd get to 150. It's just absolutely taking off. AMD looks like it doesn't want to stop. And who am I to say that it's going to stop here? I think this could keep on rocking and rolling, guys. We'll see what happens there in AMD. Another high flyer that I'll just keep on the watch. SoFi just continuing to chug along. And I think you're going to see a lot of stocks like this. Got to stay with the strength right now in this market. That is for certain. All right, guys, catching up with you guys in the chat. If you guys have a stock you guys want to call out, throw it up in the chat there. We'll take a look at it. All right, let's keep things moving here. Let's get out of course, the playbook. Let's go to the Sunrise Report and take a look at what's moving in the market and why this morning. Let's get to it. All right, bank earnings, of course, are in focus this morning as we got some different banks to report. We'll talk a little bit more about that and what stocks are doing well, what stocks aren't doing well. Of course, wholesale inflation measured was unchanged in June. That's affecting the markets right now, if you're wondering why we are getting a move there. But Trump tariffs, of course, are causing a ripple, and the crypto legislation gains some steam there. Futures markets were mixed this morning. The S&P futures were flat. NASDAQ was down 0.2. The focus was turning to the PPI report that was due at 8:30. We just talked about it. They were expecting a 0.2 increase. Actually came in at 0. So it will be interesting, of course, following Tuesday's CPI reading that showed that inflation is still drifting above the Fed's 2% target. We'll see how that worked out. Let's go to the big bank earnings. First one up we'll talk about is Bank of America. We'll talk a little bit about this. BAC is the ticker. As you guys can see, it did dip down, but now getting the dip bot. We'll see if this starts to really rise with the market here. EPS at 89 cents versus an 86-cent estimate. Revenues at 26.61 billion versus a 26.72 billion estimate. Not looking too bad. Shares up 1.5% despite the net interest income miss. So we'll see what happens there. Goldman Sachs also came in here, and they had an EPS of 1091 versus a 953. Wouldn't you bet that Goldman Sachs goes ahead and actually kicks it out on EPS? It seems like they always beat on EPS. I think they've only missed like once, at least in the last like 15 quarters. Revenues of 14.58 billion versus 13.47 billion estimate. Shares at shares up 1.5% on strong equity trading performance. And yeah, guys, you got to have like visuals and things to kind of look into this. I use like Earnings Hub or Benzinga Pro to do this, but you guys can do this in many different ways. I think it's very important to take a look at things like this. Like I'll bring in here, guys, so you guys can see a little bit more about what of course, Earnings Hub has. And you can see here on the EPS, right? You can see how many times have we beat the EPS? Well, Goldman Sachs, the EPS has beat 14 out of the last 17 quarters. 17 is a pretty good number to beat. And then you look at the revenues beat, right? The beat estimates 15 times in 17 quarters. So this is exactly the type of thing that you want to be seeing. Really, really good look here in Goldman Sachs. And really, it doesn't have a bad grade at all. I haven't even seen their ranking, their score. I think it's interesting to see that they're starting to give you like a score and things. Hey, check out Earnings Hub. No affiliation. I like it though. It's a pretty good service. If you guys need the link to it, let me know. I can also throw it up. But here, let me show you guys that a little bit here. It wasn't on the screen here. Let me get that up here. All right, so here's Earnings Hub. It shows you kind of the calendar. You can kind of click on the name, right? You can click on Goldman Sachs. You can see here their EPS, how many times they beat in the last 17 quarters, their revenue. I think these are all types of things that are really interesting. And it kind of shows you even a grade, a nice ranking system that they have there. And these are the types of things that you want to be looking at, right? You could definitely even look at price here. You can even look at analyst and how they're looking at, right? Of course, check it out, guys. No affiliation. And you guys see me even using the free version. You don't got to go crazy. Check it out. If you guys want to take a look at it, let me know. I can also give you guys the link. All right, let's keep going. We'll take a look around out in the market there. Goldman Sachs starting to climb back. We'll see if it go higher. And let's keep it going with the Sunrise Report this morning. Next one up, Morgan Stanley, of course. As Goldman Sachs goes, a lot of times Morgan Stanley just follows. So I'll be watching to see what happens there. EPS here at $2.13 versus a $1.96 estimate. Revenues at 16.79 versus a 16.7 billion estimate. So a beat and a beat here. Despite that, also getting pulled down a little bit. All right, let's keep going. The tariff and inflation trade policy worries continue to grow. The market remains on edge following Trump's announcements of 30% tariffs on imports from Mexico and the EU starting on August 1st. A fresh trade deal with Indonesia also added a 19% tariffs on exports to the U.S. Investors are concerned about the raising input costs making their way through the supply chain, something that could show up in today's PPI print. And we didn't see that, right? So, all right, let's keep going. Let's go to the crypto comeback. Let's go to BitMine or whichever one you want to really kind of look at. BT, right? Bit Digital. We can take a look at BitMine. You could take a look at SBET, right? All these types of names are really kind of going higher. Of course, crypto stocks surged on late Tuesday after President Trump announced that the Genius Act and other crypto regulation bills have now enough votes to move forward. Of course, they failed the first vote, and that actually hit stocks really hard yesterday. The about face followed, of course, a last-minute White House meeting with Republican holdouts. Yes. So it looks like Trump was able to strong arm some of these Republican holdouts and make them flip. We'll see what happens there. Making some great money on MicroStrategy. Short yesterday, a swing short on Circle made me over $300. And I'm just glad I was able to close this towards 8 o'clock. I said, you know what? I'm not going to get pretty with this. I'm not going to get greedy. It's already a good win. I got out this morning. I would have woke up into the red. So, hey, that's how it is sometimes, guys. You got to take your money and run when it is available to you. All right, let's keep going. Let's see what else we got here. Let's go to Johnson & Johnson as they lift guidance here. Johnson & Johnson has been making moves. It's also a value name. It's starting to get a move up. I actually really like this chart now. It's looking a lot cleaner. I'd go to the monthly to make it even cleaner. Right now, you can just pull this line down. You can see that the support is somewhere around here. We'll put 144, but I think it's closer to 145. That's going to be your support. Now you're looking for a trend line break back up towards this line. Let's see if we can get ourselves back above that line and really actually make a move here. But the earnings, not too bad here. You can see how that's kind of just tightening down. We'll see if it makes a move above. 277 on the EPS, beat the 268 estimate. Revenues at 23.74 billion versus a 22.84 billion estimate. Shares were up. Not looking too bad this morning. I think you continue to watch to see what happens with these drug manufacturers and overall health names. All right, let's keep moving. Let's go to ASML as our disaster stock of the day, as it's taking a plumbing here, as it's down to like 20 something points. Actually, more like 60 something points, guys. It's down to 753s. It was trading at like 820s just yesterday, really taking a hit here after guiding for a flat 2026 growth, citing macroeconomic headwinds. Q3 revenue forecast now down to 7.4 billion euros versus a 7.9 billion high end. The expectations were a loss of 8.3, so it's not the worst. Broadcom and AMD also declined in sympathy. We'll see what happens if this actually starts to affect other areas in technology, but definitely taking a little bit of a hit here is ASML. All right, let's keep going. I'm looking at what else is out there. Johnson and Johnson. Yeah, that's it. That's pretty much it for the Sunrise Report. Of course, the bottom line, investors are in a wait and watch mode. Strong bank earnings, crypto optimism offering support, but trade policy and inflation uncertainty still remain key overhangs. Today's wholesale inflation data, continued with corporate guidance, will determine the near-term market direction. And today, of course, we got a lighter PPI. It's happy that's using the market and helping the market get the nice lift right back up. The only question is this the move already, or will we see a continuation towards the open? All right, guys, it's 8:53. We'll be joined by Michael Noss in just a second here. Let me know what's your top watch on the stocks today. We'll go to my watch list. We can go to some stocks out there, guys, and we can definitely take a look to see what else is out there. What's up? What's up? Why you start so late, Mitch? I'm up 400K on NUVE from 5 a.m. Well, guess I got to start up at 5 a.m. or 4 a.m. I mean, we can have an earlier show. It's just more our traders around to keep trading those hours. I do take some pre-market trades, so it's not too bad, Matt. And if you made that money, hey, man, keep that cash, man. I wouldn't mind going on a nice vacation. That's all I got to say, Matt. But hey, if you want to start the show with me at 5 a.m. because you're cashing 400K, if it's consistent, man, I will wake up at 4 a.m. for you, Matt. But yeah, I'm up every day also before 5 a.m. and on the computer at 6 at the latest, though. But hey, guys, if you guys want to meet up with me, come on over. Oh, 40K, not 400K. Hey, that's still good money, man. Some people make that in the year. So you're able to make that in a trade. Can't go wrong, my friend. Can't go wrong. It's good to see you in the chat. And hey, wish you the best of luck, man. Keep getting that money. And if you got 40K this morning, make sure you keep some of that towards the open. All right, guys, we'll see what else is out there. Wish you the best of luck. Even 4K is good, right? We'll take that, right? We'll take the 4K every day. I mean, dude, to tell you the truth, guys, I mean, $400 a day is a pretty good living, right? If you can make $2,000 a day, I think you're it's some crazy number when it stacks up for the year, right? So that's what it's all about. It's about stacking these wins up. Let's go looking into the market. Let's go making some money. Let's take a look at some of the high flyers. It looks like that's what you're looking at, Matt. I can take a look at some of those high flyers. I have a scan specifically for this. So I can also share that scan with you guys if you guys like that. But hey, let's take a look here. Let's take a look at what I got here. I got QLGN as one of the names that's moving this morning. You can see this one's been up there towards 8. Let's make this chart a little bit bigger for you guys so you guys can see the recent action. I'll even go to the 1 minute so you guys can see all the action. You can see how this kind of broke this little flag pattern, then really started to try to get going. Now turning around a little bit, but could find some love if it gets back to 6 and get some big buying. Let's take a look here. What else is out there? The NUWE. This actually looking not too bad this morning, guys. It's already made I think 1, 2, pretty much the third move. It could make one more drive. I don't know if it's going to continue to go after that. I think maybe one more drive and that's it. But you do have this left-hand side resistance to kind of look after, right? That's right around the 17s. I think we can maybe make an attempt above that again. And then you got to see if you fail that. But hey, it's right there for you guys. We'll see if it makes another run up here as it is trying to set up there in a nice little flag pattern. Let's just see if it starts to break it and actually go higher. I'm not going to trade this one this morning, but hey, I can't blame you if you guys are watching this name, NUWE. All right, catching up in the chat there in the morning. Even $100 a day can be like life changing for most people. Yeah, and I think a lot of times traders like to think about the cash that they make in like kind of like it's an all or nothing income, right? Like this is just the money that I'm going to make. But just think about it this way, right? If you have a yearly income already and you're able to stack some more on top of that, that's what we call life changing, right? When you can have that extra income that could be like a whole year's income, yeah, that could definitely change your life and it can make things completely different in the way that you're living, right? Maybe it's helping you pay off your house faster and saving up for retirement. Maybe it's increasing your investments in the overall market, right? Building up a portfolio, right? All types of things that you guys can be doing with that extra cash. And who wouldn't want some extra cash, right? All right, let's keep going, guys. We'll see what happens in the market. Let's keep it moving. Let's go to different stocks out there. Let me just check a couple more here. Anything that's standing out? D Pro, aerospace and defense stock. Doesn't look too bad there. This one maybe could get going. I don't see too much this morning on that, but I'll just keep looking out there to see what else is kind of making a move out there. That QLGN tried to make a move above that 7. Looks like it's already pulling back a little bit. And some other names are kind of getting a little bit of a lift. Some of these real cheap ones. And the NUWE did try to lift there. You can see it's trying to go to the 17s. I talked about it. It looked prime there, but I wasn't going to go trading it now. But looks good there. Now you got the spike there for 1620s, now up there to the 17s. Now can really start to get going above this trend line. I'd like to see it hold that. You saw how it came above it, held it, and now it could really shoot off that 1650. We'll see if it really takes off through the 17 and tries to get back up there. But another area, this could be the rejection area because it's also the daily gap. So when stocks feel their daily gap, a lot of the times they can just reject off that area, and that's the 1693. And you can see how we're fighting, and we can't get above 17 right now. So this could actually be a nice short area to take a shot off of. We'll see what happens there on NUWE. All right, guys, we'll see what else is out there. J. Angelo, amen to that. That's what it's all about, man. Matt, NUWE, 76,000 float on a catalyst. Patent, no brainer. Contrarian, is that what you said? Hold on, let me put this a little bit bigger. Sorry, can't read that. And then, of course, it blocks it out. Oh, good Lord. All right, let me just make it big like this. So pretty much, yeah. There's nothing wrong with this one. A run from 4 a.m. I mean, it has had a nice run from 4 a.m. So you can't be mad about that. We'll look to see if it starts to turn around. NUWEV. Another thing to me is that I look at the 15 a lot of times, and if I've seen 1, 2, 3 patterns, I usually look for the 4th to get failed into, and then a turnaround to start happening. We'll see what happens on that. All right, let's keep going. We'll go back to the overall market. We'll go to my watch list also. We'll see how stocks are holding in here. Stocks look like they're holding in pretty well here. Let's take a look there at my watch list, see what's showing up this morning. Rigetti taking off here. I talked about Rigetti yesterday. Looked good for a move back above 13s. And there's the push there now, guys. So, yeah, you're starting to get these good looks in quantum names. I would look at IonQ based on that Rigetti. We'll see if IonQ can make a little bit of a comeback, or maybe it's QBTS, right? Or like that. It starts to get the lift. So keep your eyes on the quantum names with that Rigetti move. It looks hot. We'll take a look to see what happens on that. ARM, not looking too bad. Archer, a name that I've talked about here, was actually trading it yesterday. Did a good trade there on this one as this one started to lift off. Was looking for a move to 11. It got towards 1167, looking for a pullback to 11 to reload. Never got back in, but it's strong right now. We'll look to see if Archer keeps going. Another thing that happened, you got the cross. So that's good sign, like we talked about on this, right? So one of the things you want to be seeing sometimes is, can you get that cross, right? Because if you can get that cross, it's definitely going to help you guys. So at this point, I'd be looking to see if Archer can kind of continue to build off of this, and you want to see this light blue line expand away and kind of really start to push, right? So we'll see what happens there. And Archer, of course, has been running with Joby, and look at the takeoff in Joby. Absolute takeoff, guys. We're clear for takeoff. Clear for takeoff. Joby, clear for takeoff. Man, what a ride up on that thing. That thing's been a crazy ride. And this one could help other names start to continue to go higher. This one's pulled back, Surf Air Mobility. We'll look to see if it can catch. You also got Blade. But of course, Archer and Joby, still the best two in that space. Air Mobility, right? Of course, we can also take a look at the drone names. We can talk a little bit about those. That's going to be your UMAC and your RCAT. They had a nice little pullback day yesterday. RCAT hot, UMAC hot. Look to see if these can get the volume this morning and continue to rip on higher. AMD, of course, is a little bit high. We'll look to see if that can pull back. Tesla kind of hanging in there. We'll see what happens with Tesla towards the open. HIMS, I'm actually looking to see if we can fill this gap now, guys. I think this gap could fill. I think we just need a little bit of some positive move in healthcare. We've had a lot of down action in healthcare. So let's see if this can actually come back. Clean Spark, throwback look, right? If you're thinking that Bitcoin's going to continue to rip higher, well, Clean Spark is going to give you an opportunity today. We'll see if that's the move for the next push to the upside. Of course, APLD, of course, I have that already. FLNC is in that energy space. We'll see what happens on that. SBET this morning was up there to 33. Can this one keep climbing high? We'll have to wait and find out. Bros getting a little bit of a lift there. What happened to Starbucks? Did Starbucks start moving? Nope, not a single move there. KLAC will be interesting to see turnarounds on this. This is going down because of the report, right? We talked about the other report that really kind of caused this. So now ASML is what caused this. You could see these AMAT trade turn around to the downside. So this actually is probably not what you want to see here in tech today, because this is actually going to hold up a little bit of that tech enthusiasm that we're seeing this morning. All right, guys, let's get out of that conversation. We're going to kick the show off for real. We'll go to the countdown. We'll get to the trading action. You guys out there, it's time to start the bots, as I should say, or bring on Michael Noss. I don't know which one it is, but let's get to the action. I'll tell you one thing. There's going to be some bot action. There's going to be some Michael Noss action. And guess what? We're ready to go make some money.
Wants 200, baby.
You ready to get back to the trading action?
You aim, you shoot, and make money. It's going to be a great day. You guys know where you're at.
What up, traders? How we doing? Let's bring on Michael Noss. What's going on, Michael? How we doing?
Oh, we're doing well. I was a little late getting in this morning because I'm battling a woodpecker. So if I leave suddenly, he's sitting right on that roof every now and then and just I feel like an old man going running out there, gonna get off my roof.
Get that woodpecker.
But yeah, it looks like
you have to put like a big eagle on that corner or something, like a fake eagle.
I was actually looking. I of course you go to ChatGPT and you go, how do you deal with that? And you can just buy these little plastic like owls or eagles or something.
Yeah. Then they get scared. They're like, I ain't going over there.
Yeah, so that might be the game plan. So if you don't see me, man. I probably fell off the roof putting it up.
Oh, let's hope not on that one at least. Hope there's some good leaves already on the ground.
Yeah.
All
yeah.
right,
what interesting reaction to PP? Was that?
Yeah, PPI coming in a little light. I mean, honestly, like guys. Like the expectation sometimes I'm like, do you even did you guys see the CPI? Do you guys see where things are at? Yes, tariffs have come in, but we're talking 10%, right? And 10% that was front run, right? So a lot of people shift everything ahead of that 10%. It's going to take a while for these numbers to show up. Do I think that there's going to be no inflation? I definitely think there is. I can show you guys it. I've done the boots on the ground, right? The wife has been buying a bunch of organization things at Dollar Tree, and guess what? They're not $1 anymore. they're not $1.25. Now they're $1.75 each item, right? And so they're changing that, right? They went from $1.25 to $1.75. That's inflation, guys, as much as we want to think about it or not, right? The question is, when will it show up? Right now, it's nowhere near showing up. If anything, we got a slight downtick. That caused the reaction higher, right? Immediate, oh, and what is it? It's not about inflation. It's all about the rate cut. Everyone's so focused on rate cuts. They're not tariff focused. They're tariff effect focused, right? Which is inflation. That's the focus of now. It's not about if he's gonna. I honestly think he could say tariff 45%. The market really wouldn't care. It would care about what's going to happen from that 45%, right?
Right, and it's like a lot of people think inflation is bad for the market. I never understand that, because inflation literally means asset prices going up. Like that's the definition.
Yeah. So companies a lot of the times are smart, right? They're not dumb.
Right?
They're going to make more money and keep their margins higher. And if anything, what does this do? This affects EPS, maybe slight tick down on EPS, earnings per share, but it would help the overall revenue outlook go higher. And this is what we saw in a lot of earnings that came through this whole inflationary period, right? Where, yes, some misses might have happened on the earnings per share because they brought their margins slightly down, but they still made more money. So, I mean, you can't be mad.
Yeah, it's just, right. If you just look at the definition of the word, inflation means asset prices go up. And then we get inflation and asset prices go up, and people go, what's going on? It's like, well, yeah, it might not be, things like retailers might suffer a bit because people buy less, but you got to remember, retail is, I think, less than 5% of the S&P 500. So software doesn't care, right? AI doesn't care. If you're someone who is a miner, or you're in the industrial space or anything like that, inflation's great for you. So it really just, it's one of those things that everyone goes, oh, inflation bad, go down. The opposite. Just, I always encourage people, just go back through history. You can always just go to ChatGPT and say, show me all of the times that there was high inflations, and then bring up a chart of the market and see what happens when the inflation started to tick up and when the inflation subsided, and all throughout. And you'll, generally speaking, be a little bit shocked at what ends up happening there.
Yeah, chat's talking a little bit about, of course, take a look at the CME Fed Watch tool, and you guys can definitely check it out, guys. I just brought it up right here to make it easier. This is September meeting, where they're really kind of betting for the cut, right? Of course, there was a lot of talk about if Jerome's Powell's firing is imminent or not. I think there was a congresswoman out there that just wanted to show up in the papers. So she used the word imminent, that like if she had some real insights, but that's just fluff out there, guys. The big thing is Jerome's months away from getting out, right? Do you really think he wants to give up his term and cede to the pressure? Right?
Because nobody knows. It's one of those things that no one knows if they can fire him if they started the process to fire him now, by the time it went through the courts, he'd be gone anyway. So it's one of those,
right? There's just no
they're not going to, just because, right?
It'll go back and forth. The only thing you can do is if he really resigns and just kind of gives up.
Yeah.
But why would he give up? We've all known Jerome Powell to be this understanding guy of, hey, I have a separate policy than the fiscal policy. The president looks at some things. I look at completely other data, right? And he's been the person that has clearly been, I think, as data dependent trying to be as possible, especially after following like a Janet Yellen, and then also you had Greenspan that just kind of just blurted out stuff a lot of time, right? And I think that he's tried his best to stick to his own policy, right?
Yeah, and Greenspan was good because he intentionally, and there was a famous quote from him. He's like, if you understood what I said, I did it wrong. Like, he wanted very much to have the whole Fed process and everything they were going to do completely obscured. And then when Jerome came in, it was just the complete opposite. He wanted to do, I want to be as open as possible. it's funny because I think a lot of people didn't believe him because they're used to other Fed chairmen who would say one thing and do the other. But the one thing you can say about the guy is he would tell you what they're thinking and he'd tell you what they're doing, and it was 100% accurate. He said, "Hey, we're going to raise rates and we're going to keep them higher for longer." And initially, people didn't believe him, and here they are. And he's been saying all year, he's like, I'm going to wait for the data to show me to lower rates, and he's been 100% truthful. So love him or hate him, but that's one thing you got to give the guy is that he was straight up honest the whole time, just saying, this is what I'm going to do. If you don't like it, it's fine.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and I think we'll be watching to see how this adjusts, right? Because if you look a week ago, this was actually 65%, right? So it actually went down a little bit, even though the inflation numbers went in the right direction for a cut, right? So just think about that, right? Keep your eyes on it. Doesn't have to be this September, but this is what's affecting the market. This is what's helping the market also continue on its move higher because it sees rate cuts later coming down the line. And even if it's not, let's say September, definitely by the time you're getting into, let's say looking down the line, right? Like a December, right? Now you're really kind of leaning into more of a 2 cuts, 42%, right? So those are the types of things that the market's going to focus on. What, 3 months, 5 months out in the markets, right? So that's the types of stuff that you need to be thinking about right now. Not so much short-term thoughts on whether it's 35% or 40% on so-and-so country.
Right. And I think, I think you really got to nail in what you said there. A lot of people don't know is that the market looks ahead. It's like roughly 6 months, and you can go back through history. And so when the market bottoms and starts to move higher, 6 months later, you start to get good news. And then when the market tops and moves lower, roughly 6 months later, you start to get bad news. Now, something like COVID would be the exception to that, where it was pretty evenly timed. But this is why a lot of people, they're looking at data, but the market's forward looking, and the data we got for like PPI or something is backward looking. So the market's just way ahead of this. So that's why I like tools like the Fed Watch tool, because at least it's telling us what people are expecting and what people are priced in. And then we know that's what's priced in the market. So if you ever go in and there's a 90% chance of a cut and there's no cut, then the market got it wrong, right? It was pricing a cut in 6 months in advance, and there was no, or vice versa, right? He was coming in, no one thought there would be a cut, and they cut. Those are the events where you could really potentially do a trade off the news, because what people expected, and then what happened is just wildly different. And there's not very many times in the market where that happens, where this is what people expect. They priced it a long way away, and then something completely different happened. Those are, again, the events you really got to look for. But very forward looking. A lot of people don't understand that.
Yeah, and then of course the next conversation would be, well, who does Trump put in, and how in line are they with Trump's policies, and
there is one
stuff,
question
right?
in that job interview is a one question job interview. He's gonna walk in and he's gonna go, how much he cutting? And the guy who probably gives him the highest number. Cut.
Did you hear what Trump said yesterday?
I try not to.
Trust me, I would have been one of those people that if this would happen, at first I'd be singing in the streets with you guys. Like I'd be like, let's go spend all the money I can to get all the loans I could ever get. He was like, yo, the Fed should cut to 1% and stay there.
You're an equity holder. That's great.
Could you imagine, Michael, that the way the markets would Oh my God. He said, no, he said, Jerome should have cut this to 1% and they should just keep it there. It should just be an overall 1%. It never changes. I was like, dude, do you understand how economics works?
Oh, of course not. but if you think about it and this is why the Fed is supposed to be politically neutral, and I think might not be ever again, is because if a low interest rate is just going to make the current sitting president look great, because they're going to have people buying homes, right? It really hits the pocketbook. You're going to have new innovations and business going, and then what happens? Inflation's going to get a little bit wild. So unless you have another mechanism to deal with it,
It's good.
donut.
It's good to get a 1% loan, but then when you go and you have to spend $500 on your weekly grocery bill, it's going to be pretty tough, right?
Yeah, it's why, and we know this. It's not surprising. Inflation is good. Like, I don't mind inflation personally because I'm 90% of my net worth is in assets, right?
Yeah.
It sucks to go to the grocery store and spend more, but at the same time, on the other end, because inflation is pumping my assets, it's
Yeah.
a
I
net
think,
benefit for me. It hurts the people who don't have
yeah.
assets, right? And they're
Yeah.
living paycheck to paycheck. That's the problem, and that's really who ends up getting the shaft
And it's
from that
also
kind of
wage
thing.
growth, right? Like weighing wage growth with inflation, right? At the end of the day, also, right? Assets, of course, will appreciate over time, right? With that,
Yep.
but also your wage itself, right? We saw a big boom in wage growth. That's why people didn't get so affected by the recent wave of inflation. But if we were to see a huge wave of inflation with little or negative wage growth, that's when
Mhm.
the real pressure gets put on people, guys. So why has the consumer stuck around? Why did the consumer get strong? Because everyone got a bump, and that bump got us through that rough moment, right?
Yeah.
Now, I think we just continue to ride this wave, even though people are thinking to see the slowdown. Remember that recession talk. That's where I think, sometimes we're going to start dealing with a different kind of conversation about recession. You've heard it from some economists about rolling recessions, where recessions are just happening in certain areas of the market, and then certain other areas are just still in kind of the boom. So we'll keep talking about more macro as the show goes on.
Mhm.
Let's get to the charts. Let's take a look here. What you got for me today, Michael? What you looking at?
We're range bound. We talked about this a lot yesterday, where right
Mhm.
everyone was a little bit worried about all the crazy stuff that was going on, but
Yeah.
really, if you look at it, it just slunk us back inside this overall range that we've been in for a long time. And until this range resolves, and I mean on a closing basis,
Yeah.
which right Charles Dow taught us like 200 years ago, closing price is the most important price. Until this breaks, you just got to buy dips, sell rips, right? It's as things are holding near the low, uh, you want to buy, and when we get to that top, maybe you want to trim some. And I don't know how long this is going to continue, but it is the way it is. And I just wanted to I grabbed some of these from the trading journal for the
Mm,
fully systematic account.
like it.
New equity highs yesterday. Again, it's only like 5 days, so it looks very very woppy on the equity curve. But
Yeah.
this is the one where I haven't made a trade yet, and I'll figure out a way to share this with you guys via link. But here's just kind of the stats, and this is the benefit. This is a lot of what a systematic trader's stat will look like, where you can see the win rate is slightly positive. So this is just a chart of winners versus losers, and this is profit on winners versus loss on winner or losers. This is what you'll kind of see from a more systematic trader, where we're trying to exploit like a 51% edge over and over and over and over again. This is all net of fees and commissions and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And then, right, the both trades are about the same length. So again, it's going well, right? Still working out bugs and things like that. But just to show you the difference between a discretionary trader, which will probably be like a really low win rate, but every now and then just knock the doors off it. This is happening because I'm taking 40, 50 trades a day, right? And we're just looking for that small edge across the basket of trades, take each one small enough that I couldn't care less about it, and just kind of rinse and repeat, right? And I think this will hopefully continue until we get some sort of breakout one way or another. And then because I'm buying dips and selling rips, that might lead to a bad day or two. But again, hopefully we got enough cushion by then that we'll be all right.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And it's what it's about, guys. Just continue building and building and building until
Mhm.
you feel you have it right, and then go build another.
Mhm.
So keep getting after it, guys, and definitely stay tuned to learn more and more in the chat out there. What's going on out there? How we doing? It's good to see you guys. Tack, Rando, seeing some mentions of some small names out there. Um, Mike, that's why fund managers get equity risk premium. There you
Yeah.
go. Yeah, yeah, definitely
Yeah.
good
Well, not
mentions in
just
the
right.
chat.
It's there's so many studies done that, right? Most people do like a 60-40 portfolio kind of
Hmm.
things. But it's not really, if you look in the long run, you should be pretty much 100% equities. Right? And even for kind of older people out there, because of that equity risk premiums. I think it's one of the big rise in all of these option income, because I've been looking into these quite a bit as a way to generate income without having to invest in fixed income like bonds and stuff, which are boring. Guys like these Jeppies that are just kind of covered call and put writers. You can do this yourself as well, but this is just kind of a way to outsource it where you get that income of fixed income. There's some tax benefits to it, right? I'm in a different country, so I won't even talk about that. But the having that equity risk premium, especially if you believe inflation's coming, is huge because bonds will get killed. The dollar probably will get killed, but
Yeah.
you have to put your money somewhere. So look into some of these different names if you believe inflation's coming.
I think the important thing to watch today, guys, is I know that some people are going to be talking about the markets, but just put that all to the side. Look at the TLT, man.
Yeah.
That's what started to scare the market, guys, yesterday. And if you're wondering why we went down yesterday, and you're like, well, I don't really see negativity, or it's the bonds, guys. It's the bonds. The bonds made an ugly move yesterday, and then today are putting in another hard kind of bottom right around these 85s. So that's what you watch, I think. Below 85s, I think the markets will start to struggle.
Yeah, and this is rates, right? This is just kind of the inverse of bonds as well. But we're back to that 4.5%, right? And we can look at some major dates. Here's May, where there was some good news. Here's kind of the June. Over here's the April. That April, I'm just walking back all the inflation's number. So it seems like every time we kind of get up to this 4.6 or so, I think what happens is somebody walks into Trump's office and taps him on the shoulder and saying, right, this is the line in the sand. If we get too much above this, servicing our debt becomes a problem. The economy starts to shrink and slow. Because, listen, as much as, you might not agree with a lot of Trump's things, he's right in the sense that lower rates is better for the economy. Problem is, like we talked about, it's worse for inflation, right? So, if you're an inflation guy, if you're someone who's going to struggle with inflation, that's problematic. I think a lot of Trump's buddies don't really bother. But if rates get too high, the economy just slows, and that's why the Fed raised rates in 2022 and 2023 is because the economy was kind of overheating. So you need to watch that, and it seems like this is roughly the area where comes in and some good news will come out, I think. So I think you watch this zone. If we continue to grind higher, I think you'll get some positive tweets or true socials about China. You get a more aggressive against J-Pow, whatever it takes to get people in the mood to buy bonds. And when they buy bonds, that's what lowers rates. So I think that's a really big problem when it comes to what he has to worry about. And at least in the past, we've seen every time we get to this zone, I've just got highlighted here in purple, this is where people start to get worried about the economy. And then again, rates start to get fought in some way, shape, or form. So asking about APLD. Oh yeah, nice. You still holding some of this?
Yeah, I got back in.
Nice looking gap this morning.
Yeah, it doesn't look bad at all.
Well, doesn't look bad
Twitter
at all.
booted me, man. I don't know what happened there. Someone's trying to hack my Twitter.
Uh-oh. You got to take care of it. Go ahead. You got 2FA on, I'm sure, right?
Yeah. I could tell something happened there. It got me booted. I was gonna show you guys. There's a tweet that Trump put. He was talking about it yesterday about China. I think it's an important one, but I'll try to find it for you guys in a second here. Gotta get logged back in.
Yeah, this is what basically I was talking about. What Rand was talking about, right? If that TNX, if this grinds too much higher, right? The whole trickle down, just economics 101. The government, it costs way more to service their debt. Banks, it costs more to lend to businesses. So then, things like startups and small businesses and things like that, they struggle. Again, Apple doesn't care. Amazon doesn't care what interest rates are because they've got so much cash anyway. So we have to we have to know that these are the areas that are going to be infected. And the best place to look, we talk about all the time, is IWM, right? The SPY had a little bit of a bad day. Look at IWM's candle yesterday. It just got creamed. And this is because, like Mitch was saying, it was a bond story yesterday, right? It was bonds and interest rates. That was the story. And IWM is a lot of those mom and pop places. These are very interest rate sensitive companies because they're smaller. They're not sitting on like a billions of dollars of cash like an Apple is. Apple's fine with higher rates. They just make more money on their cash.
And UWE breaking out 1844s. Just want to call that small cap out there. That's really kind of launching off there, continuing to move there. So that NUWE, go get it, guys. Go get that money.
Oh, maybe we'll get to what, 4 billion?
There you go. There you go. Make that money, man. Matt, we won't be mad at you in the chat, man. You make that money. You tell us all about that NUWE. You've been up since 5 a.m. trading that thing. Well, you cash, buddy. You cash. We ain't gonna be mad at you.
Listen, I know more and more pro traders that they're just getting up super early, having their coffee. By the time the market opens, they're done, and it's just their way. There's no
I've actually thought about trying to take that attempt, right? To like, it takes some practice, I would say. So if you want to do that, just start practicing it. It's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. You just have to be really quick on the gap scanners, like the moment the market opens, kind of really looking at these. And another thing is really understanding kind of the way that the market depth is working, right? Because if you can do that, if you can really look inside the books, pre-market could be an area where you can find some edge. It's not where a lot of traders find an edge, but there is a few that make a lot of money, man. A lot of money.
Yeah. It's it's a different game. Right? There's less liquidity, which is both good and bad, right? If you manage it, less liquidity means big movements. It also means, right, that you can get smoked if you're sizing correctly or you're not right on it. So trade with caution. But again, we know 24-hour markets are coming. It's not an if, it's a when. So you just need to, it's great prep for it, right? Trade around when the news comes out. So I'm just marking up here because we just got a minute or so before the open. Yes.
We'll get to that. Did want to make comments. Trump says the U.S. Will be fighting China in a very friendly fashion, and that we are way ahead of China, was the comment that I caught yesterday. That tells me more and more and more he is literally getting as soft as can be with China. As soft as can be. That's good for the markets, guys. That's good for China markets. That's what you want to hear. That's the rhetoric change. That if you look at his tweets before he was president, what was he saying about China?
Oh, yeah, it was way tougher on it.
All right, give me 1 second. I'll be right back with you, Michael.
Yep. So just going into the open here, right? We got the 2-day VWAP right ahead. That's an area that I'm watching. So again, that's the average price of yesterday and today. That can sometimes and often acts as areas of support and resistance. You can see how much time we spent around there until we did that kind of bleed into the end of the day on this kind of name. So we just need to keep an eye here on lower that a little bit. I'm down. There we go. So there's the open. A little bit of a bad tick right off the open. Let's see what happens here to see if we can end up getting through this particular price or not. This, I think, is going to be important from the upside. If we get through the 2-day VWAP, then potentially we have all of this kind of fresh air, dead air, all the way up to yesterday's high. And then again, the daily chart, just to remind everyone, we're just stuck in a range. So, right. So I'll start, calling out trades as some alerts start to hit. Mark all those as red. But the only one I got a little bit right off the open is this USAR. So this one, you can see it popped this arrow right here. This is where I got my fill. So again, the target's 2-day VWAP, stop the high of the day. And again, after the first couple minutes, you'll start to see the alerts spam in. And then that's when, as you're seeing, that's when the trade potentially could start to kick off here. So we will see this USAR is slowly, it's starting to look a little bit good. So again, we'll keep an eye there. just want to watch this early open. We had a push up and then a push back down. So we're kind of hanging out right inside of this range. We look at the economic calendar and we should be good for the day. I don't think there's anything else we care about. We got PPI out of the way. We got some Fed guys yapping about something. And yeah, no, so that's it for numbers. So we got to keep that in the back of our minds that there's no more economic events. Q's bleeding a little bit. Didn't get nearly as close to the 2-day VWAP, so some relative underperformance on the Q's versus the SPY. And then we go in here and take a look at what's moving, what's up, what's down. We have Johnson & Johnson really ripping today. Mostly green, and green pretty well. Some bad ones like MS, I know, was one as well, right? So keep all of that there in mind. So we have a US AR. We have Ford trigger. So that's forward to the long side, looking through that zone right here. And I just got to keep going through these alerts and pausing them manually because I still have not discovered a good solution for just doing this automatically. There's going to be something. It's just I need like a couple hours with the code, but we'll stop that as well. So good. So we're getting some good trades in here. Things are moving a little bit. Long some Ford, short some US AR, short some CRML, whatever this is, but just a revision to the mean. Little short trade on that guy. So all looking good.
Yeah, APLD, really nice move out the gates there. NNE giving me an alert, watching that one. Circle was able to make a lot of money on the short side yesterday. Could actually be a long today. So I'll keep that one on watch. So above 36 on NNE, looking for a pullback on NNE to try to get in it on the day trade side of things. That NUWE, I think, is halted at 2086. So crazy move on that one.
Yeah,
Archer, nice rip too. A lot of rips around there in the markets, guys. Try to find where the strength is.
Yeah, and then we've got USAR selling. We've got the SPY, just in the middle of its range. So it looks like another bifurcated day, which I love.
Look at it's a pretty break right here, right out the gates, man. Missed it out the gates here. BT talked about this setup yesterday on the flag pattern. Look at that one. Pretty breakout now off of the flag pattern.
Well, and WGMI, which is just Bitcoin miners. Look at this chart. I'm watching this closely. So look at your closest miner, your favorite miner, because this is a really interesting flag, right? Mm-hmm. Where looks like my Goldman Sachs order was rejected. That's fine. But yeah, so miners right off the gate are doing well. Bitcoin is doing okay, but I'm sure you saw this yesterday. You seem big on Ethereum. That Ethereum break happened wild yesterday when Bitcoin didn't do anything. We had a pretty big push here on Ethereum. So it's been going great. Solana also keeping up. So this may be a rotation, like a crypto rotation trade. It might be, Bitcoin chilling out for a bit, and then Ethereum, Solana, a lot of these other movers, they're going.
Oh yeah, so. UMAC, RMAC hot here. I talked about those could be strong names out the gates. Same thing with CleanSpark. It seems like literally the names we were talking about, at least on my watch list, 4 or 5 of them leading the market. QBTS was another mention off of the Rigetti momentum. Looking for QBTS to maybe hold the VWAP pullback on this look, but doesn't look too bad there. QBTS.
Watching USAR very closely. It's getting close. You can see to my target here, which is 2-day VWAP. So just looking for one more kind of flush. I don't have a ton of trades going off right now, so I can kind of watch and manage things just a little bit. My Ford, really nothing's happening, but it's Ford, so I don't expect a whole lot to happen there. That's going to be one I'm probably going to have to update the VWAP pretty frequently. The CRML, this one is doing great here. Nice little move on that guy. And then SNDK I have from yesterday. I don't know why I have this. I kept this. Wouldn't let me close this thing overnight. Said it was halted, which is weird. Oh, there come the trades. So let's start going through some of these. So I just shorted
for sure out there.
S-bet.
Oh, there you go. S-betting, S-bet on the S-bet.
Short on S-bet, a little short on U or Unity.
I like it.
That one. A little long on MS or Morgan Stanley.
It's funny. I made a lot of money short in Bitcoin stocks yesterday. And that's just how it is, guys. You got to be able to flip it. That's why I also didn't stay short, right? I was like, you know what? I've gotten my money. I had a good day. Let me not push it.
Yeah, so we reclaimed pretty well. It's really hard to swing Bitcoin stocks because you just know the whole market's open while the
Exactly.
stock
While
that
you
you're in is
sleep. Yeah.
closed, right? So unless it's a long-term trade, I find it really, really hard to swing just crypto-related names because crypto, it could double or it could get cut in half the next day, and who really knows, right? So
exactly. NNE right back to 36 there. Looks interesting. Ion X also an opportunity there for me, but I'm thinking I'm going with this NNE move here.
NNE. Yeah. What's SMR doing? Yeah, holding nicely.
Trying to get in on 36. Just don't want to reach up too much on the offer on NNE because it has a tendency of doing like kind of sweeps downs and then big rips. So it rips out the gates a lot of times as a bigger pullback and then really gets going. So looking for that type of pattern here. Part of that is not overextending yourself, right? The spread's about 15 cents for me. And there it is. That's what I wanted to happen. I just threw it off the bid and I got the bid fill versus an offer fill. I'll show you guys what I mean by that. That's very important, right? And it's also important to show you guys that on Trade the Pool, you can get those fills right there. You see how it's on the 84, the blue line? So I put it right there and it just came down and filled me, right? So on the bid versus the offer, like shooting up at 36, right? It was up there at 36.05. I said, you know what? Let me see the bid down. All right, boom. Let's go. Boom. Got in there. Now looking for this to start to come back right up towards the 36 and buy that bid entry. Look how it spreads out here. I don't feel too uncomfortable. But if I was in at like, let's say on the offer there, I'm already down without even starting about 10 or 11 cents. And that puts pressure really quickly on you.
Right, just no movement on the SPY off the open here. So it's a good time to kind of take your bets, right? Set your alerts, load up. But if your stuff's not moving, don't.
As long as we hold VWAP right now, things are looking good. That's one thing I would say. So you see how you hold VWAPs on all these wicks? You're holding VWAPs on all of them. That's a good sign. Now you just need a go candle, a big candle. See how the candles are getting smaller? See how this big candle came out? And then from that point, we got in smaller and not bigger candles. So you're looking for literally this candle to get broken, that big green candle. What happens? Where do you close above or below that? So 624 close, or let's say 623.20s close. We'll see. We'll give it a little room there because there's a lot of wicks on the bottom side.
And we are wedging, right? Things are getting very, very tight. So we just got to keep that in mind. Say, okay, as long as we're inside this wedge, we don't expect our stuff to move very much. We just kind of hang out, build our positions, build our watch lists, and then go from there. This USAR, I may just kill if we can't get going here. I'm going to lower the stop.
How's that one doing?
We just need one more push down to be happy, but I'm just lowering my stop just to lock in some gains here.
There you go. Back up 36 on NNE. SPY making a little down move. Just be careful out there. You see what I'm talking about, right? The wicks there.
It's wild because
I'm thinking about adding here, but got to hold off this wick if I add. If I add, I have to hold off that wick. So I'm waiting for more of a move up here, and then I can risk off these lows like 1010. We'll see if I add in here on APLD and take a shot. And then E right there. Would like to see SMR just take off. SMR is not a bad one, right? I'm just trying to play a little bit of some lag action there. Alster was a move yesterday, and it's continuing today. Remember, I was all over that one early. I got out of that one way too early yesterday. That one just continued to run all day long. I just got impatient when this pulled back. But look, it was an all-day runner, and it's continuing today. This one has the run. Why? Because it has a FDA approval of a LiDAR on a drone. So that's why it's been getting more of that drone hype with Archer and RCAT and moves like that. It's getting moves off of that, and it still has LiDAR for like cars and automotive. So with that being said, Ouster continuing the strength.
By little breakdown, we're under VWAP now. We're getting close to yesterday's low. Or not yesterday's low, but just a support zone here that I've drawn from yesterday. I think the technical low is going to be down here. So that's just the number that gets us kind of red on the day. But bleeding through VWAP there, if we look at the Qs, already under VWAP, relative weakness in large cap tech today. And of course,
VIX, little spike on VIX.
Our boy IWM just can't get it going. USAR is kind of the biggest position, so I'll update that one. But that's getting close. I just need to get a little bit of a flush, one more flush under this $15 area for profits there. Johnson & Johnson, I took a little short on that guy too. Again, targeting the 2-day VWAP here. Big move up, and again, I'm just fading gaps, There's USAR getting close.
Looking a little bit better on this NNE, looking for an ad on the pullback now. So slightly below 36. I'm trying to add. It's starting to go already above 36 here. So NNE, let's see if this starts to ride up.
SBET is looking like it might stop me out, and those sometimes turn into pretty nice longs. So take a look there on SBET. Just if this
bid fill.
Right, so triggered on this topping tail that closed under VWAP, and then so far it's been trying to get back up. So really the stop is just we break through the high of the day. That's always where generally the stop is. I kind of obfuscated a bit. It's either a little bit below or a little bit above the high of the day. But if we break back down, then 28 is the target here.
Okay, adding on there for APLD, adding on there for NNE. Got a nice fill there. So still below 36 on NNE, which is a hard move right now because the range right now is like 36, 35.80s. I'm at 35.87. I think I've done well in between the spread of NNE today. Now it's more, does the market want to kind of jump back here and kind of help out, right? So we'll see what happens. This is where I talk about you can have a perfect setup, but if the market goes against you, don't forget that it plays in the factor, right? The best setups won't do great when the market's starting to tank, even if you have the best setup.
A little trigger there on this BMNR to the short side.
Sector outlook. Let's go to that. I think that's very important. Yesterday, all red, right? Well, today, half red, half green from the open. Technology still red. Now, that's one thing that's going to definitely hold us back. But real estate and healthcare jumping today. So keep your eyes on that. We'll see if we get some more liftoff.
Yeah, and this is all going to be with the kind of Johnson & Johnson, right? Where that's such a big part of that kind of healthcare basket and same with Lilly, having a nice move here as well. Still a Lilly shareholder.
Rigetti, nice bouncing. Rigetti, nice bouncing. RCAT. BTBT pulling back. SoFi staying strong. Hood off the VWAP there. Looks interesting. Just running through some names. Tesla hot today, guys. Hot. Tesla not looking bad. Longer term trend trade swing alert. I'm watching a little bit of Lemonade to see if it starts to recover. An insurance name. Nice undercut there on NNE, now above 36.10s. I will actually be adding. I'm trying to build positions a little bit more when they're working. Yes, you know what I mean? But that's the key. And then you have to get to a certain point where you get to like maybe a size where it's like, okay, at this point, I can't risk much, and then tighten down. Right. And then so I'm trying to be a little bit more buildy on these positions. Take the shots either quickly or build the position and then tighten down on risk. So we'll see what happens here if we start to get this nice rip higher. How am I doing that? Like an NNE? I got like a stop ad right now. There's BTBT fill on a pullback. I literally sat it there at the 355s. Now I can risk off the low here on BTBT and see if it goes higher. Right back up. I did 500 shares. If it goes to like 365, I could add, but even just right back to the top, that's a nice 110 for 45. Doesn't sound bad to me. Let's go for it.
USAR here. I got it's the only closed trade, but I'm out of the short. So came back to 2-day VWAP, and now it's kind of grinding up. So we'll see what happens from there. That's a nice little trade to start. My SBET is actually paying off a little bit here, so I'll take that as well. So far up pretty nicely on the day, just kind of letting everything work out. This BMNR is doing great as well. A good little trade there off the bat, although this BMNR, 9 shares. It's because I'm sizing to the high, the pre-market high. So that was, it's like working very well from a tick point of view, but it's just, there's, no size there, which is
around.
A good benefit. And then also kind of problematic, I guess, is that I would have had a stop loss, and that's where I instantly lowered the stop loss. I would have a stop loss at this point, which would have meant I could have sized up a little bit more, but because everything's systematized, right, it doesn't kind of give you that option. You just take the trade.
And UWE still trading out there, guys. Be careful out there with that one. But if you like it, it's still trading. Came out of a halt. It's been going sideways here. We'll see if it takes 25 and keeps the halt party alive, or will it start on a down halt? It could very much do it really quickly. So just be careful on both sides of here. I hate shorting day one moves, so that's why I'm not even looking at it for the short. But trust me, I'm sure there's a lot of shorts itching to come in here. So watch out. This thing could be moving all around. Quick drops, quick lifts. But it is moving out there. That's for sure.
And funny enough, we talk about this all the time, strategy and building strategy. One of those that I want to talk about and look to build and systematize is day two on names like this. Like, can we systematize? You just make a list in the morning of everything that was one of these crazy ones the prior day, right? I know the first red day is something that a lot of people trade. You could very much program that and just let it go, right? I'm going to just keep my list going of these names and then kind of go from there.
OLGN opened up again out of a halt. Just mentioning that. It's around $6. A lot of people trying to trade that one. You can see it right there. They're trying to buy the 6. I'd wait for the undercut of the 6 for me on that OLGN name.
The SPY is just bleeding here. Just FYI, new day lows. Again, just like yesterday, wasn't very aggressive of a move, but it was just kind of this grind all day. I don't know if we'll have the same thing, but feels like we could. And again, we still have a massive range yesterday that we're in the pre-market that we're just kind of pulling our way into. So if we get into that range and then start to bounce from there, that could be an interesting one, right?
Yeah, I think another thing is, of course, just keep your eyes on Bitcoin and that kind of conversation. I think if you see a huge dip in Bitcoin, that's the only thing that would put me to concern here, because some of these are still holding on right now and doing pretty well. ETHU still holding on. OLGN now getting the buy through the 620s, trying to break through the 640s. We'll see if it gets moving and goes into another halt. For me, the only way I would have gone into that is into the lower below 6, and you did get a move right there, right before that started to happen. I'll show you guys that right now here. I was watching it on my execution screen here, but QLGN, here you go. I'll show you guys it. So right before, when I was talking about it, it was trading right here at 620s. I said, look for that undercut of 6 where they actually collect that volume. It went to 596 and wow, really quickly after that, because the volume sits there, right? And so it's just sitting there. So they go after that volume, they grab it and wham. LAC, that's not a bad one, Josh. That's not a bad one to have, man.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, you might look back at that and be like, man, this 3 buy was an awesome buy. I like it too, man. I like it too. Put it this way, if I had more buying power, I'd probably be you buying it. But that's the thing right now. I don't have enough buying power in my swing accounts. I think I might have to just get like 3 or 4 of these swing accounts. Because that's the only way to do it, man. To me, like going after this with like 100 shares is not worth it to me, but I think you can get at least like maybe 100, 200 out of that. It's not that bad if you just want to look at it like that. But LAC is looking good. I like SQM. I like those names for long term. ALB is another one. Keep an eye out. Or you can just go lit, but we'll see how these lithium stocks do well. Wish you the best of luck on that, Josh.
Yeah, energy is right. I think just very interesting, and we're always talking about this. It's what is the next benefit of AI, right? Industrials, we're always talking have been ripping. Nuclear has been ripping. So, right, lithium is a way to potentially store energy for data centers. You could generate energy off the sun or whatever it is that you want, and then you could store that with lithium. I know people are trying to use. China's big on these silicone graphite batteries or something. So just pay attention, right? Because energy, if we're going to keep going with AI, energy is going to be a huge thing. If you pick the right spots, I think that's the next big win for a lot of people. Is just finding the right weird energy play that people are going to use to power these things.
Yeah, and a lot of that is at the end of the day where the technology is going. Right? They talk about solid state batteries. Something in that will come into play, guys.
I have, battery. Anyone has any battery tech?
Just look at QS. Look at
that's a big
QS. That
thing.
should tell you enough. Some
Yeah.
people kept judging me about this play because I liked QS, and I was like, but dude, don't forget Toyota approved. It has a big stake in this. If Toyota approves a company, they don't just do light research, man. They get all the interns in the basement to get after it, right? They don't just invest in nothing, right? They know that the technology's there. It's more, can QS get it right? They get it right. I think this could be a $50 company.
Well, and because power generation is easy, right? Solar is amazing for power generation. Like we could power everything in the entire planet off solar. Problem is, sun only shines half the day. So how do you store it for the rest of the day? So I know there's a lot of companies, a lot of smart investors trying to figure out power storage. QS, these other companies, I really do think are going to be kind of the next big thing because imagine California. California could live off solar if they found a big enough or a best way to put in some sort of battery bank somewhere.
Yeah.
So
I get stopped out here and NNE. There he goes. Just triggered right there. Out of that one, guys. Took the first hit on the day. That's 124. A little more than I expected, but it could just be the liquidity move here with the SPY. Also, SPY's just driving down, just ruining the trade. Setup was there. It started to come back to the 36. Couldn't hold on there. Still in BTBT. Might have to get out of this one too if we keep dipping like we are. So right now it's kind of like leave that trade on because I already took it, established risk here. But from that point, got to take a reassessment. We're seeing some down action come in here, and it's really shaking at least the short-term play up. SPY straight down out the gates. Q's straight down out the gates.
Important to note on the SPY, we were at yesterday's lows, like this is within 5 cents of yesterday's low. So could be one of those. Maybe we undercut it a little bit, and spike yesterday's lows, and then start the rally. That certainly could happen, but just pay attention. We are right at that zone. I think that's going to be an important one to keep an eye on to see if there are people buying at that zone, right? So
should have stuck with my circle long call.
Yeah, I was listening to a podcast this morning at the gym, and I didn't know how much money the money transfer industry makes. It's like $1 trillion a year. So if you look at it and you say, there's they're going to capture any percentage of those, it could be a big deal because it's
Starting to see some buying
Big
coming back
industry.
in here. Let's see if we can get it. Rigetti's not a bad target. It's been hot, 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 pulled back a little bit. I'm actually watching like QUBTS off of that. But we'll see what happens if Rigetti can stay hot. Any coal names? BTU is the one that I'd watch. It needs to get above 15. I'll set the alert there to let us know. But of course, the hotter name has been METC. That's on a pullback. Look, trying to come back today. So not a bad one to look at. You see how it pulled back on the hourly, held the support, now starting to come back. So it's not a bad look, but look how extended this looks. It's hard for me to trade this, right? So I'm looking at, like, does any of them start to play catch up to that move? I always believe in kind of the catch up moves where one's down and then the other one comes after it. So right now, if I look at that, I could also just use like an RSI and coal. This is overall coal, and you can see how it's going up. It's an equally weighted outlook. AMR is like a bigger company that could get out of this base and start going higher. But other than that, you can see METC, AREC as a smaller name. Then you got HCC on the RSI and then BTU. So HCC is a hard play, but it does run really fast also, like METC. So maybe we wait till we start to see a sign in those names really pushing. TSLL, interesting though, for sure. I was watching it just a second ago. You can see it's up there at 1150, holding well. SPY though,
Yeah.
still the drag there. How's the TLT? TLT's doing well. That makes me feel a little bit better.
Well, we're getting a little bounce in Bitcoin right now as well. I think is interesting to keep an eye on. So if those two things are doing well, then it makes me think that we could be in an area where the market does okay. I got stopped. Just grab this for a second in my SBET. So this is something, again, I'm trying to do more of, where SBET worked really well, and then we got the close back over VWAP. So I just killed it. So it was about a flat trade. Lost like $10 or something. JOBY just triggered while I was chatting with you guys. You can see the little alert right there.
Yeah.
Short side, see if that one ends up fading. I just have to stop these alerts manually and find some time today to lock myself in a closet to figure this out. But yeah, this is something, again, I'm just going to try. It's going to be hard because I've got 10, 15 positions on at once, but just a rule I'm going to add to these things, that if you get any sort of a move in my direction, I was up, nearly $1 there at one point, and then it comes back, closes back over the VWAP, time to go. If anything, it's kind of an interesting long now because it did undercut a little bit of the pre-market low, and now it's back through VWAP. So again, just using this as an easy way to say, okay, this one's not working. It's time to kill it, and so on and so forth, right? Lowering stops, managing the bot as it goes, because I don't need to search for entries anymore. The entries just come to me because I've done all the work in the morning. So that frees up a little bit of time and attention to being able to go through and manage these trades a little bit better, which is great. And there's a little bit of detachment, I think, that happens where they're not my trades, so it becomes easy to manage them. I don't feel emotionally attached to these trades at all. Next target for this is going to be BMNR. This one, right, it's struggling. Didn't quite get to the 2-day VWAP. So if this gets back over the 1-day VWAP, it's time to go. But we are seeing a little bit of action here in the SPY just at yesterday's low. So we just have to be a little cognizant there that if we could flush these yesterday's low. So let's just pay attention. If we do, I'll probably be aggressively covering shorts into that just in case. And if we bounce from yesterday's low and then kind of get back through VWAP and grind higher, that could have just been a little bit of a dip and rip. But huge support right at this area, this 622. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4 days now that we've gotten to that zone, and there's been buyers. So it wouldn't surprise me if that trend continues here.
Yeah, I'm looking at a potential long right now in ALB. So that should be a swing trade. So I'm going to take a little bit here and start it up. This is also kind of a reversal off of support. It's not as clean as we normally look for it, but I'll do a $20 risk there to start it off. And then what I'm really looking for is a bigger move above 71 So you can see that support. It did make a 71 move, looking for that clear 71. Daily is right around the 9 EMA. You can see this going back to 75. So it's about a $5 up look. We'll see if it can kind of get the buying that it needs around the 9 EMA to get going. I did take a QBTS long there off of that kind of bottoming look here off the SPY, but I'm not sure how much it's going to hold here. Rigetti was another option for me. I was thinking about it on the bottom there, but I feel like Rigetti just gone too much on the daily already. So looking for others to play catch up in that space.
Yeah, and it's really all about how the SPY and how we deal with this prior day low. So far, we're bouncing pretty nicely. It's only been a couple of minutes, so we have to curb that enthusiasm just a little bit here. But it makes sense, right? If you kind of missed yesterday, you missed the low. We had that gap up. We pull back in to test that low. To me, feels like a good place to start some buying, to enter some trades there. Something to keep an eye out for.
All right, taking some shots out there, guys. Let's go. Let's get after it, traders. Let's see what we can do.
Yeah, Bitcoin digging in, Solana digging in still. The Qs, they're trying to find some support here. They're below yesterday's low and below the pre-market lows, but they're starting to bounce. So it really is big cap tech that is hurting us. So.
All right, APLD, nice little spike there. I like that move. That makes me feel confident to go for one more ad there, and that's the final ad. Now I got 500 shares there of APLD, looking for a move to 11, and that would be a nice $500 winner, or at least close to it. Right now I'm at a 10.11, so it'd be a little bit under that, but let's see what happens with that trade. All right, we'll see if the SPY can kind of start coming back. Qs really is where we're looking for a little tech bounce here. It's a pretty ugly day. Pretty even on the daily candle, it looks like it's still coming back to the 9 EMA, which could be a Q move to 554s. We're at 554.92, so maybe the bottoming's close, but we're still kind of leaking here. Just to keep that in mind for traders out there. Do have some trades in the green here. Got to be smart here now. As they start to push, only down about 132. Any of these trades go green here, and I'll be higher than that. I'll be up about 200 on these trades. They start to go well. Here, let's see what happens. Let's see if the SPY can move. Look at the Rigetti move right back up. So you see, I was fighting myself on, do I go for the strongest one? Look at the Rigetti right back up there. So that tells me that QBTS could get the lift there, and IonQ could get the lift there. I was trying to distinguish between both of these, right? So we'll see what happens there. Nice looking action there. This is where I want to, in the long run also, Michael, I think where I'd love to get to is an establishment of a system that can trade maybe VWAP, just VWAP strategies, simple VWAP strategies, but based specifically after like a theme, like going after that theme, right? It's just on a basket approach.
Yep.
And then that would be an interesting way to go about this. Because right now,
Super easy.
I would hit the button right now, long quantum stocks, right? And then it could go after all these names. It could grab a little bit of Rigetti. It could grab some IonQ, right? That's really where the next move is, guys. At least in the way that I like to trade, where I'm like all theme focused. I think that's the best way to do it, is really just basket out and then try to gain alpha somewhere, right? One of these stocks could go stronger. You gain the move there, and you're able to at least diversify in between multiple plays.
Yeah, very easy to do, and a very common and I think a great way to trade, where you're instead of trying to pick an individual name, it's kind of like you're building your own ETF, and then you can manage the constituencies there, right? Maybe one's doing really well and you add to it, and one's not doing very well, and you cover that type of thing.
Yep.
Very, very common. And yeah, there's a lot of different basket traders out there that you got different buttons, and you just you take a bunch of trades from there, and it makes absolutely perfect sense. And again, a lot of ways that a lot of people out there trade that exact way, and do so very successfully. where I don't care which one it is. I just want to get long, whatever, right?
Yeah.
Solar, quantum, whatever it ends up being.
How is that NUWE? There it is, pulling back there. We'll see if it gets hot again here. That thing is pulled back there. It did do the undercut of the 20. Let's see if it gets hot again, or will it start to cut back down? We'll see what happens there. Looks interesting, that's for sure. It's moving all around. We'll find out how that one ends up. APLD now trying to get back above the VWAP. I really want to see this thing just start taking off. Just start taking off here. But what's happening? Market's holding it back. Be careful out there, guys. Let's go to the big boys. Any of the big boys in the green? That's what I start to look at on days like this, right? Because the big boys are certain things that just can just do that, right? Like just turn things around, right? That's what we want to see here.
Apple is very strong. It's the only one that I'm looking at that's like holding near today's high.
That could be a value trade, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so Apple could be a way to defend yourself, but with the market coming down like it is, be careful out there, guys. Another tick down here.
Yeah, and now that we're breaking, and now that we're breaking pretty strong, that felt like, we were digesting yesterday's low. Maybe we were going to bounce there. Did not. This is why I always want to see like a move through VWAP or something to confirm that, yes, we've kind of, at least for that moment, put in some sort of a low. Doesn't look like it's the case. Looks like we're selling back down here. So we have to be very careful when it comes to a lot of these names that we
that's why I just went break even on a lot of this. BTBT, a little bit of a risk, 25, but got to be careful here because I need to see the market kind of start to jump in there with it. If not, then I'd rather just get out, get back in, right? Not run out of ammo right now.
That's the beauty of what we do, that we have such an edge up on a lot of the large institutions out there. And I know a lot of people think that the institutions got us. They really don't. We can do stuff like that, where we can just get out of a trade and get back in. They can't. It takes them days or weeks or months to get into or out of positions.
Yeah, APLD looks good. Is there I saw one on what was the stock that surprised me the other day that it had a leverage name?
Oh, Jesus. Everything has a leverage.
Yeah, I know. Like I thought you would have been like, oh my god, there's a leverage one on this.
Again, you gotta
PLD doing well, starting to do well. I saw the chat. Alex coming in. I haven't seen you, Alex, but I know you came in and said it's going, baby.
Again, talk to your boy. Like, I'm trading JP Morgan, Morgan Stanley right now. I would love leverage versions of both of those. They're $150 stocks, and they'll move like 1% a day. Right? Again, I don't care. Make it $1 million stock as long as I can afford one share of it. Who cares? I just want that. I want that juice. I want that double.
I want that
leverage,
juice.
right? Give me.
Doesn't want the juice, man. Who doesn't want the juice?
I don't need
NE back above 36 here, guys. So remember, NE was my cost of the day on the downside. I got caught on that. It's right back to the breakouts spot here. So
yeah, SMR as well. SMR hitting highs the day. So getting a good little push there as well.
Look for one more pullback, 3580s to kind of hold. If that can do it, if it can shake to 36, underneath 36, and then get back through that, that's going to be for my breakout look. Why? Because now you create the two trend line look. And so I need to see a third attempt, right? So somewhere down there, I'm looking for a little bit of a pullback and then that slingshot through, right? So it'd be something that looks like this, right? That's what I would like to see now. An attempt below the VWAP, if it doesn't break down and then really gets going. All right, looking around out there, guys. BTBT looking a lot better now. I'm watching that one starting to get going here. QBTS looking good too. I got a break-even stop on QBTS. Looking for that just to keep running with Rigetti. Rigetti right at the VWAP. Is it going to keep running? Ways to look at the market, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we're getting definitely a little bit of a bounce here across the board. I'm seeing it pretty strong in the Qs and other names, so we have to just keep that in focus, keep that in mind. And
there's Rigetti higher. That looks good there for my QUBTS. So I'm going to open up I'm going to cancel the stop out right now on the break even. Just look at it, watch it. What I do is when I cancel stops a lot, I'm watching the ticker, right? I'm on top of the name, right? Not looking away, right? Because that's the thing, right? If you're going to cancel a stop or not have a stop, you have to be watching the stock. You can't just just wander out, go cook something and come back and, expect to have protection. If I take off the stop, I'm watching the stock, right? So,
well, and yeah, you also need for people who trade without stops, you also need the mental fortitude. You need to be 100% okay and acknowledging that, if
you make
you
a
got to punch
mistake.
out,
Yeah.
right? You've got to be able to honor that. And there's a lot of people that can't. And if you're someone who can't, you find yourself finding excuses to stay in positions that are past your stop, then you have to use a hard one. There's just no other ways around it. So
third halt in that APM. We'll see if it halts down on the next time around. D Pro starting to get going. That was one I was watching in the morning. It has an interesting looking 15-minute, right? Just started to get going. Could maybe make a run to 5. Just one name that I was watching this morning that is showing up there. NUWE back to 20s, and it's just still hanging in there. Surprising how this one's hanging in there. Telling me that it's trying to do something again. I don't know if it's going to be down or up, but it's trying. It's trying to build it up to keep going. Because normally, if these really kind of fall down quickly, they fall down fast. So let's see if it gets like dips and dips get bought. Watch out there. It's going to the 20s. We'll see what happens after that 20 hit.
got filled in some of this Twilio.
I haven't heard of that one in a long time, my friend.
And it's just
Twilio.
buying after a little bit strong couple days from 113 to 128, and a pretty harsh pullback today. So the system's just looking to get involved in that pullback.
This one came out when I was like in finance school, and just like I really studied this thing in the 35s. I thought it would be a good company. For a long time, it was hated for a long time. But then I knew that it ran like a lot of what Uber did and a lot of the background of a lot of like highly intensive apps. And I was like, man, that's actually sounds like pretty interesting stock. That's when I was, in school, and, they're teaching you about, actually looking into the fundamentals and all that. I was like, yeah, it looks good. But the price action was not doing so hot for like, I think it was like 2 or 3 years. And then of course, out of 2018, like into 2020, that thing really started to get hot. That thing was $454.
Yeah, big pandemic darling. One of those looks like Zoom or Peloton or any of those things where
but what happened was companies started to switch away from it. They started to develop their own platforms.
Yeah.
And that can be really a deterrent to the company. That thing's getting whomped today. Hope you're short on that thing.
No, revision to the mean. So I got filled here at 121.50-ish.
Okay, that's not bad at all.
Yeah, just looking to, this is a kind of a second day play idea. It's something I'm playing with, where it had such a big day yesterday. It was up, like 8% yesterday.
A little bit.
And then pulling back today. And the idea is that, a lot of people who missed the trade yesterday, if we get a little bit of pullback today, buy. But again, each of these things are size, so the risk is super consistent, and couldn't care less what happens to any of them.
Yeah, and not seeing the hold out there, guys. So we could get some pullbacks, and then maybe a quick buy comes in, but the SPY and Qs don't want to come back to VWAP. That's always a negative sign to me. Sometimes they come back really fast to VWAP. Sometimes they just kind of hang out here underneath, and that's a negative sign for me, right? Like that we're not willing to get to the VWAP. We're not willing to like at least get to 623s, make a range to 622s, and slowly work higher. It's quick rejections, and then when we reject, elevator down. That's a scary sign. So what am I right now? Break even on both trades that were up $50. I don't want to be, but I got to be protective here. Got to be smart. If the trades work, if the SPY just rips higher, my stocks will stay in the green because they're already in the green, right? Like that means I got a decent entry here. But also got to know that if the market turns here, they're probably going to go turning anyways. So no need to risk if they turn.
Yeah, and I'm just looking at, the low end of this range, the daily range here on the SPY, right? The low end of this range is all the way down at 617. And the fact that we failed the high end of the range means that I think we might likely test the low end of this range, which would be a little bit of a sell down. It'd be exciting from a daily standpoint or intraday standpoint. From a daily standpoint, it's nothing. And then if we get a little bit of a bounce from there, maybe that will be the actual move. But again, we are just in this range, and we could even come all the way down and retest the all-time highs, which was 613, and then that just be a normal, everyday, generic, boring pullback. That's like 2.5% down. Right? They could do that in a couple of days pretty easily. Just look for those areas, right? And again, always make sure you're zooming out. We're down, we're flat, exactly flat today. But what does that mean from that longer term?
Yeah. Applied blockchain is still doing well there, hanging in there, guys. That's that APLD. Still watching it here, looking for the launch. What I did was I put out a stop that's far from the action right now. I put it out at 985. Probably would even get out beforehand, but I'm trying to tell the machine, hey, I'm nowhere near here. Stop trying to look for me, dude. I'm nowhere near here. I'm nowhere near. Like you can't find me on the price action right now. So bye-bye if you're trying to cut me out. And I think there's a lot of people lined up at 10. So if you have your stop at 10, you're just joining that party. That's why I'm below that party. I just think there's like tons of stop outs like right now just set at 10.
It just got filled here in Intel, looking interesting, right? Undercut of the pre-market low, and now back through VWAP here. So again, simple, another VWAP to VWAP trade. Nice overall look on what's kind of the junkiest of all the semiconductors named. But if we get a lift here in the market, we should potentially also see a lift here in Intel. A little bit of no performance.
Lifting. I got BTBT to start going into the green here. I got stopped out on a break even of QUBTS. I'm watching to see if I go back into it, but they're SPY trying to push. VIX drop fast. That's a good sign.
Yeah, just watching a lot of trades. So take a look here at this
interesting one.
Yes, that was a short earlier, but potentially another one today. But what a massive daily chart. Looks amazing on this one.
Yeah, it's just a software name in the metaverse, right? If you're building stuff like metaverse 3D, that type VR stuff, they really are a cool platform. I don't know if you've ever been on it. It's interesting.
No, not really my thing, but
it was when I was researching like good. Gaming. It was like back when gaming was really hot. I did a lot of research into it. It was interesting. Cool company.
SPY, is it digging in maybe? So we did do. If this is the low, then that's really interesting because that's kind of exactly what we talked about. Of
stocks
flush
there
yesterday's low and then start to rip. That could be an interesting move.
All right, guys, getting some strength here in my name. So I'm looking for the strength to continue. I want to see if Rigetti can make the move now and break towards the high because I can go after QUBTS or I can go off of Rigetti on this move here. SPY's looking like it's put in I hate calling this out because I don't really think it's a real pattern to call out, but an inverse head and shoulders pattern through that 622 on the 1 minute. But I think that's such caca pattern. I will call it. It's not really reliable, but it's something that now let's see if it can hold 622 on pullbacks, right? You can even get a wick here, but as long as it doesn't close below 622s in like the next 5 minutes, I'll feel a lot better for the SPY.
Yeah, and the way I'm looking at this is that I don't really care about the patterns either. I just look right. This line is yesterday's low. This purple line. We undercut that and then just ripped right back through it. That shows me that was liquidity grab, if you as the kids call it. You can You can call it that as well, where you get these kind of undercut moves and then rallies back through. So if we start to get, a pop through VWAP, maybe we come up and try to test the pre-market highs, and then potentially even the 2-day VWAP, which is just right above here as well. So could be one of those undercut and rallies, or if you look at the daily chart, it's not very substantial, but this area right here, this kind of just extra highlighted by doing something like that. This is very interesting to me, where this is 1, 2, 3, 4, now 5 days, at least so far, that we've found support right in this zone right here.
All right, ALB in the green there for me. Did do a nice little spike on that one. That's a lithium name that I'm just trying to hold on for the swings. So the swings are set, APLD, ALB, trying to be smart with those. The key, the market needs to come back too. Like, I'm not going to hold them on if the market's just going to tumble. So just watching for that to continue. They've been in the green. APLD did spike there towards like 1020s, but it's right back towards like the low teens. So continuing to watch the action. SPY is trying. It's trying, guys. Let's see what starts to lead this rally too. So a lot of times I do this by looking at my scanners and change from the open. And what I want to do is actually the last 10 minutes. What's doing well in the last 10 minutes? Healthcare with a big push. Consumer cyclical with a big push. Led by gambling, personal services, and auto manufacturers. So Tesla could still be a nice play here. Look at Tesla bouncing off the VWAP there at 1140s. I like the play here. Let's see if I can get some here. TSLL.
Apple, wow. Nice push here in Apple.
All right, grabbed a little bit of TSLL off of that. I'll take a short risk here for towards the 1140s. Risking on that. Let's go take a look there. This is how I do it, and I can kind of look into the market really quickly. That's why I love TC, guys. Some people ask me, why do you use TC? This is the exact reason. Footwear accessories coming back. Starting to see some stocks like Crocs starting to push there to a new high on the intraday. That's an interesting look off of 100 for those long swing traders that like to take like chances like that. But interesting looking chart there if that can keep going. Crocs. We'll see what happens on that.
Yeah, the Qs here struggling with VWAP. They just came and tapped VWAP here. So the question is, can we finally get through? Can we push through VWAP and then hold? Could be interesting. Looking at some of the banks out there, banks were big today. Morgan Stanley not doing well. Bank of America selling. JP Morgan still not doing well. So I think this is the sector that's kind of weighing us down right now. Look at the XLF sitting right at lows, looking like it could break down here.
Yeah.
Under the pre-market or the all-time highs now. So now kind of underperforming the entire market. So we need some kind of pickup here in the finance sector to get going. And it's really bifurcated, right? BlackRock or BX doing well. Blackstone, we have a couple of these names doing poorly, but yeah, health technology doing well. Banks are looks like they could weigh on us. But if we get a nice little bounce off support here on the XLF, I think that could be what we need to get the SPY really, really kicking here.
All right, we're getting a nice little push here in that TSLL, and I'm looking for it to take the highs now. I'm actually stopped break even, just going to give it the momentum of the Qs, right? If it keeps going, Qs just rip higher right here. I think the TSLL just keeps pushing strong with that little push that it just got.
Yeah, the SPY, look, right to VWAP to the tick. It's crazy. And then reverse from it. So we need to see the Qs stick the landing here. Then if we have finance kind of push off that support that I showed, that could be an interesting one as well, if we can get through that zone. Oh, I see my mind med up a bit today. That's a good thing.
There you go.
30% over the last couple weeks.
Yeah, MSOS started to come up a little bit, and I was like, dude, but they sell every push. Guess what happened, guys? They sell every push.
Yeah, well, you just have in something like that, you have so many bag holders, right? That,
you kind of when the big bulls come out, you're kind of like, dude, just slap, just slap them right back down. It's like
Well,
I hear you, man. But
I say the same thing with the memes. Right? It's the meme stock, same thing. Where there's just so many bag holders in AMC from like $200 a share that
yeah,
if any kind of a pop, if you're just a normal person and you've been in this stock for like 3 years and you see it's up, 20% in the last month or something, you're like, fine, get me out. Same with
yeah,
MSOS.
fine,
I
just
love
get me out.
trading it. Like I did take a little bit of a shot.
That's
I
legit.
think we mentioned it through this zone right here, and then out in a couple days, and then just the rest of it kind of sit and break even. So yeah, good trading vehicle, not something I'm interested in holding for any length of time there.
Well, guys, break even on both of the day trades. Back to that same kind of play, right? I'm gonna keep going with this. If the market just rips higher, I'm golden. But if it doesn't, I'm at least protected, right? Trying to play this game right now because yeah, I'm with you guys. I'm trying to play a little bullish here, but at the same time, we're just on this like small little leak here, hanging out. Any
Yeah.
moment we could go in one direction, right? So this is where we talk about sometimes this is the day traders move where it's like day traders today will be like, this market sucked. You never know what can happen in the afternoon,
Yeah.
right? The first hour of the day is about to end at 10:30. That's when I think a lot of times I've seen in my statistics, to tell you the truth, guys, if I just followed purely my statistics, it's to come in and trade after 10:30. Just saying. Why? Because a lot of moves happen after that. The secondary move. And why? Because at that point, I have patterns to go off of, right? I have levels, I have determined risk, a lot easier to control risk once you have some intraday chart pattern to work with.
Yeah, not not seeing a whole lot here when it comes to
ALB just
anything
moving all around.
really
Everything
happening.
that starts to go is starting to pull back. Like everything that starts to move, mean reverts. So just be careful out there, guys. Um,
Oh, that's what's going
Rigetti,
on.
Rigetti, nice move there. I like that Rigetti move. Towards the
There's,
high there. That makes me go for QBTS now.
yeah,
There you go. Back into QBTS.
there's some bipartisan lawmakers talk with Trump's VA head reaffirming commitment to supporting veterans' access to psychedelic therapy.
Yeah,
I
you
guess
give them
Mind
that
Med's at that
psychedelics.
meeting. So that's what's going on there. So PSIL again, I love that interview with the guy there that was running this ETF. I'm watching this.
Yeah.
Just like it's very rare in the market you see huge levels like this at 16. Like just any level, like look 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So if we can get through that zone, it's gonna be one of those long term, right? You buy it right there, you put a stop at 13, you're risking $3 a share. And if this thing gets going, you could easily see $10 a share or something. You're talking 3-4 times your risk. And that's not a I want to buy it and sell it, hold it for a couple days. That's I put in my stop, I walk away. Let me know in 6 months or a year if something's happened.
All right, starting to see some lift in QBTS led by Rigetti. Remember, mentioned this right off the day, right? Like how Rigetti was leading those quantum names. I'm back into QBTS because look at the Rigetti chart. It looks a lot better, right? Sometimes you can like try to say like just buy the strength there because Rigetti's a lot better chart there. So it's breaking through the 15. I can show you guys that here. Let's take a look as we start to see some other stocks really push here. But yeah, Rigetti, boom. Look at that, right? Some more strength. So now I start to look at the others. Remember I talked about it. So you can be like, look at IonQ. That's holding above UAP. Never really did that cut that QUBTS did, right? Talked about how that one's looking better too. Let's look at QUBT, right? You see how these are trading very similar. This is why I think it's so important to know that the algos go hunting in the same area and they go basket hunting just like we can. So I think we need to find ways
A
to do
lot
that.
of it's just liquidity, right? So say you're a large institution, you think that IonQ is going to, come out with some good news today or is going to have a good run. There may not be enough liquidity there for you to get the size of position you want in IonQ. But if there's good news that's coming out for this guy, then there's potentially good news coming out for the entire sector. And right, so if you buy IONQ because you think it's going to score some sort of deal or have some sort of news or something like that, that's great. But if you can't buy enough, we'll just buy the other ones, right? Buy a bunch of the other ones, and they're probably going to get some sort of sympathy move with it.
Yeah.
The SPY is popping up here, trying to get back over VWAP. The Qs have reclaimed VWAP, at least for now. Circle another leg up.
Yeah, with that move, I can start to actually increase a little risk there. So stops go to like $20 here. Tesla's doing decent for me, guys. It's almost up $60, and that was kind of more of a chase entry. So I'm just looking to cash a little bit on that Tesla. If it can keep going, I'll ride the wave here. TSLL looking decent, right? Just broke the high, so Tesla should probably have broken the high. Now let's see if this really wants to run. 1160 is where we kind of broke out from. So I'm going to put 1160. Actually, I got to put it up a little bit higher, 1162, so I can get the minimum gain here. I'm looking for a push above this 66 so I can drop it at 62. There's a push above. I just dropped it, guys. So now at minimum, I'm going to get 1162. There's the push towards 1170s. Now I can go and protect what? That QUBTS. It's actually slightly red here. Just make sure that I don't risk an unnecessary amount. Set the risk. Let's keep working. Let's go. You see that TSL now almost up $100 there. So in a second there, if it breaks to 75, I can actually just raise the stop, raise it up with it, start securing more money. That's what I'm going to look to do here. If it can break through the 75s, let's see if it break through the 75s. Come on. Get going, Tesla. Q's kind of slowing down a little bit here. All right. Yeah. I'm not raising it just yet.
All right, Q's slowing, but they're holding the VWAP, and I think that's the important bit. Is that we're not, at least for now, crashing right back under the VWAP. I'll be back just 1 second here.
Yeah, no worry, man. What's up? What's up? How we doing? Circle up another leg. Yeah, talk. I should have gone with that circle, man. That was my call. I called it out the gates there. Just got a little distracted. That should have been a swing trade for me. Just small size. Could have made a lot of money on that circle right back up. So shorted it yesterday, longed it today, make a hell of a lot of money. You got to be able to get in and out, man. In and out. In and out like a fast food restaurant, man. All right, TSLL. QUBTS pulled back a little bit there. It did get a little bit red there. Now I'm going back to TSLL. Circle's just pushing, guys. That's going to help the market, though. Let's see if the market can continue to push here. There's TSLL pulled back to the 1170s. Looks good for it to just keep pushing here. Let's see if it can push above this. I'm up about $80, looking for a push there. Maybe it gets towards 12 here. We make a little bit of some cash here on TSLL. Let's go. Let's go. BTBT, a little bounce there. That looks good there now for it to really get going. So at this point, I can be break even, looking for it to really run. And if it doesn't run, that's fine too. It's time to get out now. If we get pullbacks, we can always reload in. So now QBTS is the only one that's kind of slightly red there. It isn't going with Rigetti right now, which is hanging up at the top. That could actually be a negative thing. So this might be a cut down here below the 16. I'm going to give it about a penny here. It's hitting the 16. I'm at $15.99 on the bid, on the stop. So probably get stopped out of that one, but hang in on the ones that are green here. TSLL, new high there, and it stops there. So it could pull back here. At this point, I'm going to raise the stop up to about $60 here. Look for this to start going. Q's need to take off here. Let's go, Q's.
Damn woodpecker.
That dang woodpecker. Did you get him?
Flew off again.
I have one. I have one that it's on the other side of the house at least, but
yeah, it just keeps coming back.
I'm sure that Canadian one's a little bigger than mine.
Yeah, birds.
Let's see what happens out there, guys. Sure. Out of that QBTS there, so taking 2 hits there. I'm down 165. Looking for the push here, guys. Looking to see if we finally get the drive and the cues that I need at least to really start cashing, especially like on BTBT. Mike cut out of that Tesla. I'm right off the support at that 1162. It's hitting the 9 EMA here. Let's see if it bounces and just keeps on playing on here on TSLL. See how the 9 EMA is right there?
Yeah.
Back. Let's see if it just catches it and it just keeps going.
Yeah, the market SPY quite a big reversal there from VWAP. SPY could not hold at all. Q's back under VWAP as well.
I'm gonna have to get out of APLD, man. Even APLD, like I feel like it wants to go, but it just doesn't get going, and then it does these washes out. That's the hard part there. I might just have to downsize on APLD and then look to reload the size factor, right?
Yeah, we were having a
Let's
hard
see.
time holding, that's for sure.
We'll put a protective stop here about the size. So like 1005. I'm going to put like 400 shares of my 500 long there to just get out of that if I need to, really close. And then I can at least extend the rest of the stop kind of below towards like the 970s. So there is a Tesla, nice little move higher there on Tesla. So now moving the stop up towards that 9 EMA, right? Now I secured $50, looking for it to rip higher. And now BTBT is the one that can really make me money if it starts to go here. So I'm going to go focus on BTBT. Stops place on Tesla. Let's go.
That's what you got to do, especially in a market like this where we're trying to grind up a bit, but the grind up is just as slow as the grind down, right? We're not doing much of anything, so you just got to pop around to what's moving. Just go time after time.
Really pushing that. Could push SBET some more. I've talked about this name when it was at $6. It's now $8, guys. Brought this name to you guys right here, up 32% since we talked about it right here. No one else, probably talking about you, because there's too many U's in it. But I'm glad I at least brought this one up in Trader TV. And this
goes
is a lithium play.
The theme, right? Yeah, it goes to the theme we talked about. It's like they got to do. You got to store energy. You got to produce energy. You got to. The AI needs the juice, needs the energy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's why traders have been trading things like Bloom Energy, FLNC, and things like that. On a kind of a trade, bigger trade out there, I've been watching this VEEV, Viva Systems. A lot of traders watching this because it has a nice like tight flag pattern. This kind of wick to 270 makes me think that it could just start to ramp back to 300. It's an interesting name. Man, the Qs just don't want to do it. Don't want to do it today, guys. It just seems like remember when strength was easy? It's not being so easy right now.
Well, and then look at the context of where we are on the daily chart. And we are stuck inside of a range, and I don't think it's just going to be random price action that gets us out of this range. I think it needs to be some sort of news event. We showed how tough this range was yesterday when we gapped above the range and then just sold back right into it. So yeah, we need something to say, okay, guys, let's start that next leg. I think it'll be a China deal or something like that, right?
Yeah. APLD cut down there back to 10, guys, and a lot of sides getting out now. So you could see a little bit further flush down. I might get out of that name too. Just seems like we're just not getting the moves. And sometimes when the market doesn't want to move, it also might be the time to sit on the sidelines. So we'll see what happens. Got out of some of the size there. Still in some of it of APLD, but need to see some change in the structure. If not, it's a goner.
Well, and this is a good mark for this too. Is that yesterday at this time I was kind of laughing that I had done about 50 trades already from the bot, and today that's 19, right? So the bot is just chilling out, and that just tells me that the market's not moving. And you don't need to be a rocket science just to look at this. And even if you bring up a line chart, right? So this is yesterday's close and today's close. But if you look at a candle. Right? We haven't done anything. Right, this is yesterday's close, today's close, gapped up a little bit, sold down a little bit, kind of right in the middle of that range, trying to dig in. So there's potential that we could bounce from here, but there's also potential that we're just kind of this is the range for the day, and you had that opening range, that opening flush off the open. So if you capitalized off that, great, good for you. And now we're just kind of in wait and see mode.
That we are. Not seeing a lot of bullish looking charts anymore, guys. A lot of cut downs. NNE eventually did a move today, guys. That's how it is sometimes. You can be on the right name and still not trade it the best. I got to cut out on NNE today, but it's still in the green. It broke a new high. So it's still looking good on the daily. That's why I like sometimes I like to use just a daily approach, right? If I just used my daily approach, it was buy 36, risk 35, right? Things like that, right? Sometimes it's simple. Don't like you can't complicate it too much. But look at it; it's lifting now, looking decent on NNE. That could help some of that SMR and GEV kind of hang on here. Yeah, I pulled back there. KLAC, I was wondering if it was going to go red today off of Lamb Research's report. Lamb Research report, ugly. LRCX. That's actually coming back. So that just goes to show you, right?
Yeah. It's again, just it is what it is, right? Sometimes you have very active days. Sometimes you have very dead days.
Yeah, it just looks like pullback type of day, guys. And I'm
It's
seeing
like
the
one of those.
technology pretty down right now, guys. And some of these names that were hot in technology ain't looking so hot right now.
Just doing some alert management.
AMD heading down a little bit there. We'll see if it breaks into the gap. Remember, AMD has a huge gap to fill here. So this could be also a trade here, just on the short side of things. If we do get, ugly a little bit, that AMD gap, look at that gap, Michael. What do you think about that? On the daily, that's just like,
yeah. I keep hearing this, and I need time. I need someone to take my kids for like a month. I keep hearing this,
you
right?
and I both, brother.
Gaps.
I'll take
fill,
yours. You take mine.
fill.
We'll play the game.
I've asked everyone who says, right, gaps need to fill. I'm like, where does this come from? Like, where is the evidence for this? And I can't find anything. I can find one study that shows that 70% of gaps fill, but they did gap downs as well. And right, most stocks in the market hit all-time highs. So of course, all gap downs are going to fill eventually. As soon as you've hit an all-time high, every gap down that's ever existed is filled. So the study seems problematic at best. So I'm going to run my own at some point. I'm only going to look at gap ups, and I'm going to look, right, what's the probability they fill after 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months, a year. Should be pretty interesting just to see what that is, because it's the beauty of the world that we live in now, where you can test these things, because there's two scenarios there. Either there's absolutely no predictive value to gaps whatsoever, then you just ignore them for the rest of your life going forward, or there is, and then now it's like, okay, now we're talking, because if there is, if gaps do fill at a rate that is bigger than random, then there's a trading strategy there. So there's money to be had there. There's alpha that could be restricted. And I just don't know. I don't have any bias one way or the other. It's just, I just know that every time I say, where did that come from? There just doesn't seem to be that, oh yeah, there's, this landmark study where someone went over. Again, it doesn't seem like it'd be that complicated to do. I just, again, need the time.
Some people call the gaps, the shadow zones. I think that might be where it stems from. More of that Japanese interpretation of shadow. But that's just where I think it's come from, Michael, at least just from, my CMT reading and things like that. That's where I think it would come from. Now, the question is, back then they were doing like kind of drawings, right? So we don't have the statistical data there. But
That's the beauty. Again, I just absolutely love where we're at with AI and all these things where we don't need to wonder
Don't need
anymore,
it.
right? I did a video on my channel where I was talking about
That
time
back up in
stocks.
the APLD. I think this is a good learning lesson. At least just real quickly went
Yeah,
back into APLD with the size. Right now, the cues are showing me a little bit better. I'll go back in with the size. Got out with the size, put it back on because those
yep.
cuts are what, $10, $12 with tons of size. Right. That's what I want to do a little bit more of. If I'm going to take bigger size risk, it's going to be in short amounts of time spans. I'm going to take that off, and then I'll look to when I want to put that back on. Right.
And trading around core positions. That's again hugely common if you have conviction in a trade, but you know that nothing moves in a straight line, right? You buy, just make it simple, like 200 shares, and then it moves up a bit, and you sell 100 shares, and it comes down a bit, you buy that 100 shares back, and so on and so forth. Now, there's a lot of people out there that they'll develop some core thesis for, I like XYZ company for whatever reason, and then they'll start to trade it. Like I know another buddy of mine who's in MindMed as well, and he's doing a little bit more of that. He kind of just been bought
Big
it,
push in SMR.
around 5, then it went to 10. He sold a bunch, then it came back down to 5, and he bought some more, and then went back up to 10. He sold some, then right. So I think he's probably pairing some out here now after buying some more at 5. But the idea is, again, there's two ways to do it. You have your core position, say you want to hold $10,000 worth of this stock. Well, when it dips, maybe you buy another 10,000 worth. And you just flip that out. And, quite often it makes sense because you like the name for some reason, so you're watching it anyway. So just take trades off of it, kind of when you see them.
All right, looking good there, guys. Tesla, new high there. Looks like it's about to break through that. I'm looking at it as maybe a potential play off of that even, but I've already made some money on Tesla, so if I did, it would just be using that cash. We'll see what happens. But TSLL breaking that 1175. We'll see if it keeps going towards 12. That's kind of where I'm seeing it right now, but we are starting to see some lift here. SMR was the name that I saw at first with a big push. Saw a candle there, and I was like, ooh, that looks interesting. That's a nice move. Look at SMR pushing now.
Yeah, the SPY has just been bouncing on.
Yeah, there's some names pushing now,
yesterday's
guys.
low. Try to get back through VWAP again.
SMR and
This time,
NNE
maybe.
are leading the action on the upside there. SBET behind it. Archer, Rigetti, Tempest, ETHU, right? Ethereum just continuing to push here.
Well, yeah, and I am out of pretty much all my shorts. The only short I still have on is Johnson & Johnson. Most of these were stopped out for loss, so not the best day from it, but that's just part of it. Right? So, is that chart
strength
there?
coming back in for sure, at least for the time being.
So you can see, I'll grab these charts again just because I was going to show. I know there's a way to share this journal so you guys can see, because every night I update it. Right, so this was the equity curve since I've started auto trading this. This stop out was again that error in which it was loading up over and over again, and I'm probably kind of right back to flat. So again, this is just part of it as we work out the bugs. The fact that I'm not blowing up the account is exciting. So we just need to keep going until all the bugs are sorted.
Starting to see that strength there. Let's see if some of these names really run. NNE, I'm just mad I missed it today, guys. It's at 37. That's just a complete miss on me. It's one of those where I'll look back and just be like, yeah, bad execution on my part. There's a reason why I was on the list today. SMR now really pushing almost to 45. So it's not like SMR is not leading the way either. Good look there on that bet. SBET continuing. That's strong. Archer looking like it wants to break there. Rigetti almost breaking 15. Big day for Rigetti, man. It's up almost 18%.
A little bit of short here on this UUU just came through.
Yeah,
Someone asking if I'm using anchored VWAP or VWAP. What you're seeing on the charts, these two lines are just today's VWAP and then the 2-day VWAP. So the yesterday's action and today's action. And it's because I'm running strategies for it. It's one of those, if you ever see an indicator on my chart, you better believe there's some sort of strategy reason for it. I don't like putting anything on my chart that I don't absolutely need because I want to see the price action. I don't want everything kind of cluttered up. So yeah, this is just, so this yellow line up here just represents the average action from both yesterday and today. So quite often that can be a target or an entry point if you're looking for pullbacks into yesterday's range, that type of thing. So it's not really an anchored VWAP. Well, I guess all VWAPs are kind of technically anchored VWAPs, but yeah, the purple one or the blue one is just today's action, and then the yellow one is yesterday's action. And this system is pretty simple, where I'm just looking for yesterday's action to today's action, right? So if the SPY is going to grind back up to this, I think that's kind of like a logical target, which we're moving a little bit on now, to see if we can get to what that average price for both today and yesterday is.
All right, guys, 10:51. We got about 9 minutes left here, ready to wrap it up there, guys. But not looking too bad on the day, at least starting to come back here. Look to see if we actually get some drive or not. Qs kind of came up and then kind of slowed down also. So the VXX, though, dropping fast, though, at least that's a good opportunity. And then that shows us that this could actually be a little bit of a bigger rally. BMNR also pushing up there from 47 to almost to 50. So you're seeing some of these kind of ETHU stocks really kind of following that. Not a bad look there.
Yeah, Johnson still stops up here, so still some room to go, but that's actually a bullish looking chart to me, if anything.
Oh, here's a stock, BTCS. That looks interesting.
BTCS?
Yeah, I can't even wait too long, because if not, I'm not going to be able to get the entry there. I'm going to try to get an entry here right here, guys. This took 200 shares. BTCS, yes. Looks interesting nice there.
Cup and handily.
Yeah, tight support here. Really playing into the 6. Just recently went to the 580s. Just got back over the VWAP. I'd play off the 6 right here. So I'm playing off the 6. See if this starts to get going. This looks like it could run to 7 really quickly. So it's not a bad little risk tier to see if it can move.
No, not a bad looking trade at all. As the SPY continues its grind up, it's now been through VWAP for a while. So that to me looks like a successful hold.
Yeah.
So if we keep going, 624 2-day.
BT. Look at that, guys. Woo! Let's go.
A little dip and rip there.
All right. So on that one, got to sell at least a little bit into this rip. So you guys see I'm up 200 on that, right? 1,000 shares. This was the swing trade too that I felt was a really nice swing trade. So taking off 500 there, not going to be break even on the rest, and just let it work. Let it work. This could break 4 and a little bit above, and then I'll sell out the rest. But back to that BTCS.
Yeah, it's a nice look. We have Bitcoin holding a bit. We got the SPY grinding higher. Looks like could be one of those, right? Dip it and rip it kind of days.
Mm-hmm. All right, now looking for this BTCS to really get going. I want to see a quick spike to 625, bring into volume, and then get moving. And I also talk about sometimes that you want to see kind of like the MACD cross, sometimes even after you get in, as you timed it right. So that's kind of the area that I'd be looking at too. I want to see that really kind of play in really quickly and then cross. Oh, yep. Big dump, big dump. Big dump. Yeah. All right, I'm cashing, guys. I'm getting out of trades with that dump. That was a big dump there. Be careful out there, guys. That could cause some more damage there. I don't know what happened. That looks news related or economics related. I even cut the APLD trade, even though it looks so pretty, guys. That APLD is hard for me to cut there, but I'm going to cut it there. We'll see if we start to get some strength to come back in the market, but that was scary there. Look how symmetrical that APLD was trading today. I liked it there, but I just cut out of everything. I just took cash. I'm in the green today. So part of that is also to do that. Now I can take a assessment as something just happened, and that was a quick candle. It could be a buy candle to huge order, right? But we don't know. So at this point, I'm stepping out of that. Huge, big candle there.
President Trump reportedly asked Republican lawmakers whether to dismiss Federal Reserve Chair Powell. So it looks like he might be like, what? The dude's, by the time you're done with the legal battle, the dude's gone. Just like wait it out a couple months.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, at least was able to make that 180 there in that trade there. This BTCS still looks good there, guys. I just can't step up with the Qs like that, but the Qs are coming right back, so it could just be a fake out there too. It was a little bit too fakey for me, man. A lot of volume coming in there too. 869,000 shares in 1 minute candle. The prior minute only had what? 42,000 shares. Big scary sign for me. I'd rather step out here. But APLD still looking good there. It could go. It's going to be a frustrating one if it just starts to really take off here. But I also can still play it at 11. So I'm not going to act like it needs to be the end all be all, right? That's how sometimes you get too in love with a trade, and then you make a mistake.
Yeah, listen, I'm obviously not the news guy, but does that news shock anybody that he asked a bunch of people if he should fire Powell? Like, I don't see why that news would be, so I could see us right back up in a few minutes because everyone goes, oh yeah, he's been very vocally yelling about this for ages now. And
I think you wait for that candle to be broken and closed out away or above, right? You saw how you see a wick here on the 5 minute, wick on the bottom end, wick, right? Where does it go here, right? Do we end up going here? Or do we end up going below that, right? Into below that, right? Because we were already struggling before this. So if we're going to struggle, it'd be today, right? Because we were already seeing the price action kind of struggling a little bit with this supposed negative catalyst that came in right now. We should see a dump below this, right? So we'll see what happens. That BTCS still looks good there. It's hard for me not to stay in it, but wish you guys best of luck if you guys are in that one. I'm going to stay off the sideline. I'm really trying hard not to be in names when I don't need to be. Right now, for me, that Q's move is telling me I don't need to be in anything right now. If I wanted, I could take like a longer term swing off of this, off the VIX. That's just me kind of looking at that. And it did spike there. It spiked on the VIX here, guys.
Yeah, we're still selling, so it makes me think there's probably something else.
Yeah, there's something. Maybe he's actually thinking about firing him.
Because yeah,
I'm going to take a little bit of the VIX here just to take a quick bet here, about $30 in the swing account.
Because right now, yeah, this is just from CBS. Just says he's asked lawmakers whether or not he should fire them. Like, that's who cares is what I'm thinking. So I don't know if this is maybe there's an algorithm that got a little bit mixed up, or maybe there's something that just no one's been talking about yet. But it again doesn't shock me or I think anyone in the world that in private he's saying the same things that he's been saying in public.
I think well, there's also so Goldman Sachs didn't help here. They put out a note, I think it was like 2 days ago, that if Trump fired Powell, that essentially they said that it could cause a meltdown in bonds. Look at the bond reaction there. So Goldman Sachs clearly tried to state that before it happened. That could have caused maybe an algo even trained off of that, right? So I think that you had just to watch here, see what happens. It's going to be interesting. I'll tell you that much. Out there on the swing, I'm willing to get back in here. It's pulling back. I think this is also kind of moments where you kind of you're taking bets is really small because things are just shaking all around here right now.
Yeah, definitely. For me, right, just a little closing thoughts of this is the environment we're in. The market has done almost essentially nothing today. It had an opening sell-off, opening drive lower. That got us to yesterday's low, and since then, it's just been a chop fest. And one tweet can trigger things one way or another. So make sure if you are trading all day, you are caffeinating responsibly and sticking on your toes, because that's it's a big deal. But this news doesn't seem crazy to me. So we could be right back up, or it could have just been an excuse for the market to sell. But
yeah, I think it's still a little bit of a mix right now, guys. So just be careful out there. Right? You can always take bets. Never a time when bets are a wrong thing to do. Just always do what? Risk manage, right? Understand your risk.
Just know your environment, right? We're not in a trending environment right now. We're in a daily range. We're in an intraday range. Just know your environment, that this is the time to buy dips and sell rips. Take your money and move on from there.
We'll see what happens. Like always, guys, stay safe out there. I'll see you guys next time right here. It's Trade the Pool. It was a wild one. It's probably going to be a wild close. Stay safe out there. Go to our Discord. You want to keep up with all the action.